Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alex here, and it is Thursday, and we lost to the Cavs on opening night of our 30th season by 30 points. And I'm still wearing the glasses because the future is still so bright. Can you guys hear me? I want to give it a audio check real quick. Trevor J or whoever's here, just write in that whether you can hear me real quick. I'm pretty sure you can, but I just want to make sure. The internet here is not doing well. Okay, awesome. You guys can hear me. Yeah, I need to upgrade my Rogers here because it is in bad shape right now, and I got to figure that out probably later today. So if it's cut choppy, it's because I got to my maximum bit rate for the month, and they're giving me measured internet right now. So in some ways, I don't like using Rogers, but right now I do have Rogers out here. Yeah, it is what it is, guys. You know, I tried to tell you guys the last few years, if we wear purple, it's not going to be a winning time. It's going to be a losing time. And honestly, I didn't like seeing the jerseys on last night. I thought that they looked kind of cool at first, but they're not the proper purple front black backs. The shoulders look weird. The shoulders make the jerseys look like WNBA jerseys. And I don't like that. In some ways, it was, exactly the nightmare I thought it would be, bringing the purple jerseys back and seeing the Raptors be down by 20, 30 points for most of the game. That, and then add Vince Carter calling the game. I mean, I will say this, Vince, you sounded great last night. I'm not mad at you. I actually really, really enjoyed you calling the game with Matt and Alvin. It was loose. It was fun. You gave a good foil to Boogie Williams to be the sassy one. And Alvin, you were hilarious. I mean, honestly, Alvin Williams was on point last night. And when he said that he would get 1,000 pigeons when they put the Kyle Lowry and Vince Carter statues out in Jurassic Park, that was my highlight of the night. I'm not going to lie. I think that was such an amazing statement. Also, when Alvin compared Vince Carter to Mark Davis a couple times, that was hilarious because Vince was like, well, you wait for the live mic to go off on me. In some ways, I want to talk about the announcing more than the game because I'm diverting. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, this is going to be a long year, guys. And, this is not the first good step. This is there's some very troubling things from last night. I must say, as a Raptors fan, the fact that we could not gain any kind of interior defense last night is a huge problem. Now, granted, this is the Cavs, and Mobley and Allen are a force together. But in some ways, the things that happened with Barnes and Pirtle against them did not happen. The matchup did not come correct. In fact, Jakob Pirtle had maybe one of his worst games as a Raptor last night. Scotty Barnes, totally ineffective, shooting 3 for 16, which is absolutely dreadful. 3 for 16, right? No, 3 for 14. Sorry, 3 for 14. Pie. Yeah, really, really bad. I'm worried. I'm worried a lot in certain ways. We got to have everybody going right in the right ways for us to be successful this year, for us to get W's, which is one of the hardest things to do in the NBA. You've got to have all your guys playing at top level, and you need your leaders doing certain things. I'll say this. Last night, the Raptors missed R.J. Barrett and Kelly Olynyk immensely. They would have used R.J. Barrett at times when the offense had stifled and kind of turned off. R.J. could have powered some quick and kept us going in the second quarter. Kelly Olynyk could have came out there and used his scrappy toughness down low to battle and fight with the very, very ominous presence of the Cavaliers. Points in the paint last night was insane. He had 30 at halftime, 68 for the game. No, these aren't the recipes for winning. No, they're not. And the Cavs shot better from three-point range than the Raptors shot from regular range, field goal range. That is absolutely horrible. The two players that won this game for the Cavs last night were Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. The two of them came out and established that they were going to win their matchups, and they did. Yeah, Evan kicked the shit out of Scott last night, and Cavs fans are circling around saying Scotty should have never been the Rookie of the Year this morning. Cavs fans are circling around saying, who the hell is Scotty Barnes compared to Evan Mobley? They asked Scott after the game. They said, Scotty, what's it like to be guarded by Evan Mobley? I think that was the Cleveland reporter that said that too. And Scotty's like, oh, Evan's a really good player. He's got long length. He's difficult. He's difficult to be guarded by. Yeah, we saw that right off the bat. Right away, Evan Mobley comes out with second effort opportunities coming at the basket. Nobody getting in his way. And finally getting it after like 2 attempts. On the third attempt, he puts the ball through the hoop to start the game. And then Emmanuel quickly goes the other end and hits a big three for the Raptors. I love seeing that. And that's the other tragedy of last night. It looks like Darius Garland undercut Emmanuel quickly, so he landed on his tailbone. And this is probably not good. This year may be one of these weird years where any little knick-knack or injury for the Raptors is going to mean timeout, and it don't matter because, honestly, it could be very much like the second half of the season last year, which I was not wanting. No, I don't want. I want health. In some ways, that's why I was fighting so hard to say RJ will be back for the opening night, because we don't want to have 2 or 3 of our top stars out at all times so that we are absolutely, for sure, one of the bottom teams in this league. And that's what this is looking like so far. I will not be surprised if they say Emmanuel Quickley's out for a week or 2 now. And that is not something the Raptors need to hear. No, we don't. We need that dude in the game. So, yeah, this is going to be a tough reaction. This is the reality. This is the real stuff. But I will try and shine the light. I will talk about this. I will defend Darko. A lot of people already coming after Darko with stupid-ass shit, saying, oh, they're blaming the team for not having a defense on Darko. What are you talking about? That's effort on those guys. You can say, oh, they weren't organized enough. Listen, Kenny Atkinson did some good adjusting in the game last night, and he really maximized the ability of the big guys down low to get dunks and get points in the paint. And in some ways, Jakob Poeltl, I don't know what the fuck was wrong with him last night. He was completely ineffective. In fact, he was turnovers that just not normal, and he was missing shots that normally he would make also. Scotty Barnes missed a lot of shots he would normally make. He wasn't taking crazy-ass shots. He was missing shots within 15 feet from the hoop. And that's scary to me right there. In some ways, I could chalk it up. The Scotty Barnes just had an off night. We wanted somebody else to have the off night, and that would have been Donovan Mitchell, Davion. But the off night actually fell on Barnes last night, which was very, very, very not good. Not good for the start. They talk about at the interviews after the game, what with all the alumni in there and the 30th anniversary, all this stuff. Do you feel bad that you dropped the ball on this night, having the worst ever loss on an opening night for the Raptors in their history, their 30-year history? We've never lost an opening night like this before. In fact, we had been perfect against the Cavs in opening night games, 4-0 until last night. And now we're 4-1 in opening night games against the Cavaliers. It is what it is. This is what we got to do. This is the rebuild. We're at 0. We're coming to start. And maybe we got a half a point of progress yesterday. I mean, there are bright spots. Nako saying here, positives, Grady, Boucher, Shed. The first quarter, Scotty and Yak. Bruno can either go the way of Baines or McDaniel. See, I don't even bring up Aaron Baines. Seriously. Listen, Bruno is actually one of my stars. I'm going to go ahead and do the stars right now. Since you want to talk about bright spots, Gerald, we'll go ahead and do that. My number 1 star of the game is Chris Boucher off the bench. He was 5 for 9, 4 for 5 from 3, 4 of 6 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. Still a minus 17 on the court, which is one of the higher ones. 18 points for Chris off the bench. Chris had that silky smooth 3. He did the post-game interview, partly in French. And, he a little bit of redemption, seeing as he didn't even play on opening night last year. And, he was the best player for the Raptors last night. And that's scary. That sucks. He didn't even get a lot of rebounds, and he was still the best player for us last night. It really was the shooting, and the 4 3-pointers were big time. My second star of the game is actually Bruno Fernando, guys. I really like what Bruno did last night as far as energy and getting after it. There were a couple of times where he had the ball in the paint, and he really made second effort, third effort, fourth effort, and just didn't give up. And that goes a long way with me. In some ways, he didn't have an overwhelmingly good game, but I want to give him some credit for putting that effort in. 3 of 6 from the field, 7 rebounds, including 2 offensive rebounds, just 1 assist, a minus 10 with 6 points. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. This is my second star of the game. Bruno Fernando is really for effort, man. Seriously. Third star of the game, Jamison Battle. Jamison Battle came out for 16 minutes, was 2 of 4 from 3. So he made 50% of his threes. 2 rebounds, 1 block, and 1 assist. That block was very impressive by that came from nowhere. I was just like, "Holy crap, Jameson, did he just block that shot like I thought I just saw?" And yeah, he did. And that was pretty cool. Jameson Battle, of course, one of 4 rookies making their NBA debut last night and actually getting on the court for the first time ever. We invested 51 minutes of playing time last night in players that had never played in an NBA game ever before last night. That's amazing. 51 minutes of the game time play was taken up by rookies who were making their debut. And that's something to say about where we're at with this thing. We've got to keep it in perspective, y'all. Seriously, that the Cavs team is a team that's been together for 3 years and they've been working together for a while. And they really do kind of have intricacies between each other. That core has been together for a while. Allen, Mobley, Mitchell, Garland, Wade, Okoro, Levert, and Kenny Atkinson is a new breath of fresh air for this team as a coach. He's totally different than JB Bickerstaff. And in some ways, his prior relationship with Karis LeVert and Jared Allen is interesting because he coached them in Brooklyn. You guys got to remember that when we swept the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the bubble playoffs, Kenny Atkinson was coaching Jared Allen and Karis LeVert at that time on the Nets. So there's a lot of interesting things about that team. I don't think that they're as good as they looked last night. I feel like we were just a really soft, easy opponent in some ways. And that's too bad. In some ways, I've got extreme concerns about up front for the Raptors right now. That I really, really do feel like we had no rim protection. We had no kind of inside defensive presence. And this is going to be the biggest building block we have to establish again. And this does really revolve around Jakob Poeltl and also Scotty Barnes. Scotty and Jakob look like little men in a big man's world, and they did not play big like they're supposed to. They were really, really not good. Very, very bad. And in some ways, the way that we played last night was reminiscent of the second half of the season last year, where we didn't have those 2 bigs to protect our paint. Well, we had them last night. So why did this feel like Mohamedou Gay, Javon Freeman Liberty, Jordan Wara's era of Raptors last year at the end of the year? Why did it feel like that? What was going on? Was it just that Allen and Mobley completely come in as twin towers and absolutely dominate that big matchup for against the Raptors last night? Well, that's what it looks like, because right off the bat they went right at the rim and they just took us apart right down there, and nothing was done in a physical way by either Scotty or Jakob. Scotty was really bad in different ways last night. In some ways, he was once again too much complaining with the refs before things. And then Jakob was making really dumb turnovers off of very soft passes out of bounds, and Mitchell's like seagulling it away from them. Like, there were all kinds of mistakes that Jakob made that I love the guy, but he had one of his worst games ever as a Raptor last night. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of things about this game. We're gonna go over it. Let's see. Trevor Chase here. The beautiful thing about life is that you can change, grow, and get better. You aren't defined by your past and your mistakes. Yeah, you aren't your mistakes. I believe that's true too. And listen, these guys are saying the right things after the game. This is a long season. This is just the beginning. This is we've got a lot of time to figure it out and try and get better. And that's all we can do. Scotty's saying and reiterating after the game, we're together. We love each other and we're going to stick together through thick and thin. And we understand this. We signed up for this in some ways. We understand this season's going to be like this to a degree, and we're not going to overreact to this. We're going to keep together and we're going to do what we do. And it's going to be arduous. It's going to be difficult, guys, but you know what, let's just go along with it. We'll have pleasant surprises here and there, but it is going to be a long season. I mean, if we can't establish certain things in certain ways, well, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble. And low post defense and any kind of rim protection, not having that is going to be a long, long ass season. It's going to be a lot like last year. In some ways, the Raptors may need to consider making a trade to get another big on this roster. Kelly coming back will be nice. And like I said, he could have probably helped us a lot last night if he was not out. But I really do feel like we need at least one more big on our team in some sort of way so that the burden is not so heavy on Jakob and Scotty. Scotty in particular, if he's not burdened with having to do, because in some ways we're counting Scott as our second biggest player after Jakob. He would be freed up to do so much more on the court in different ways if he wasn't having to do so much forward center kind of work for the team. And Bruno Fernando is great in some ways, but he's not. And then we know if we could just, I don't know how we do this. I don't know if we trade somebody or something, or maybe this is a later move when we're closer to winning, but we have to figure this out because, it looks like absolutely we needed to keep Bruno Fernando and the training camp decisions because we do not have good depth at up front at all, even with him on the roster. Carlson would have helped if somebody's saying, "Oh, we should have kept Carlson." He would not help in this situation. Just so y'all know. Trevor's saying Raptors 30 points loss. Cleveland beat us 68 points in the paint. They had 14 threes and 12 threes for us. All other stats was right there. All right, yeah, we'll look at the stats real quick. They played the first quarter very well. They kept it with them, and the first quarter I thought was fantastic. The second quarter was a disaster. We lost by 1 in the first quarter, and that was something that kind of bugged me at the end of the first. To be so competitive, they're trying to win every quarter. And Scotty had a shot at the end of the first. He missed that would have put us up at the end of the first quarter, but he missed it. And then they ended up having a 1-point lead at the end of the first. That kind of pissed me off. And that was where things started to turn immediately after that. In some ways, IQ, Scotty, Grady, RJ, the whole crew got to look at these little competitions and win them, whether it's your matchup against your counterpart on the other side or winning quarters like the first quarter. And that was a red flag. That was something that really kind of like, damn it, Scott. Why couldn't you make that shot? Why couldn't you be clutch right in that moment? It wasn't even a far out shot or anything. It was a shot that was within the 3-point range, and he still missed it. And it didn't go in. That shot could have been a fulcrum, a turning point for the game in the favor of the Raptors in some ways. But it is what it is. It's not to be in this case. Yeah, the third quarter was absolute disaster. We'll go look at the team stats real quick. In some ways, I want to expedite and do this stream in a quicker way than usual because why sit here and talk for 3 hours about this game? We'll see if we get this done in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Let's see. All right, so yeah, they shot better than us from the field. 59% shooting for the Cavs. That's way too high. That shows that there's a soft defense guarding them. 42% for us from the field, and they manufactured one more field goal attempt. The threes, 14-12, as Trevor said. They shot 46%, 47% from three, which is better than what we shot from the field. That's just a no-no. 47% from the field. That's a really good field goal percentage. They shot that from three. So in some ways, if this is a 3-point shooting league, like the trend's showing right now so far this season, well, we're in trouble. We're going to need Jamison Battle and Grady Dick out there. The Battle Dick formation, which fourth quarter, where they had Dick and Battle on the floor at the same time. I know Darko putting in Jamison Battle as time in the game was to try and jumpstart them with some offense to maybe eat up the 20-point lead a bit, but alas, it wasn't to be. A 30-point loss is what you're getting by the end because it didn't really get any better. Let's see. Free throws. We shot more free throws than them. The refs were bad. I'm not going to lie. Mark Davis was Mark Davis, and it was kind of hilarious to listen to Vince Carter make the Mark Davis jokes on there because he feels them too from 22 years in the league, dealing with Mark Davis. He didn't just outright say what we knew what he was trying to say, but he was saying something there when he was commenting on Mark Davis. And it's Mark Davis. Oh yeah, okay, that's Mark Davis. And even when Sean Wright made what call for in favor of us, and Alvin mistakenly said, "Oh, Mark Davis is helping us out," and Vince said, "No, that was Sean Wright." I mean, seriously. And Mark Davis was being a little bit of that cocky, pompous crew chief rep last night. He was very I could tell Scotty irked him as far as him complaining and coming at him. See, that's the thing. You got to understand the different refs, Scotty. You cannot treat them all the same and just yell at them. You've got to stop doing this. You are not allowed to yell at the refs until you've earned it. And in some ways, you earn it by showing you're an overpowering, powerful offensive player on the court that's busting your ass. They do not want to reward you before you have earned it. and you have to earn it first, Scott. Then you can whine and complain like LeBron. I think personally, it's a bad look no matter what. Sure, there's a way to communicate with the referees that isn't whining and gesticulating and getting loud. There's a way of actually coming at them and talking to them like people and asking them, why is this way? You can politic with them in better ways, Scott, than through your emotions. Ask Chris. Chris knows. Chris Boucher has been working with the referees for a couple of years now, and he gets really good calls from them at this point because he talks to them. And he actually, the other thing is some of these refs, they need to be heard from people like Kelly Olynyk, Garrett Temple, RJ Barrett, yourself, Scott, where you say, look, you're going to call this down at the other end. We want some favor at the other end also. And then the ref says, well, you guys got to work harder. Well, go work harder. Listen to them, because the refs are supposed to be guiding you on how to play better, on how you can go out there and be more successful with getting the calls in your favor. And they will do that. You can give them feedback. You can talk to them. Talk to them like people and say, listen, I know maybe I did this wrong and I got a foul on this, but I want to have a better outcome next time. Well, what do I do different? And then see if the ref will explain it to you. They're not a cocky asshole like Mark Davis. Maybe they will tell you exactly what you need to do. And if you listen to them and do what they say, you know what? They're like, wow, this guy's listening to me. I'm going to give him all the calls in the world. You've got to understand this, Scott. You won't get anywhere with whining, complaining, and just getting all out of shape, bent out of shape when you haven't to get the calls yet. In some ways, the NBA, the fans, and everybody still don't see you as who you really are because you're not consistently him. And last night was one of those nights you were not him for sure. I hate that Quentin Grimes and everybody else could say that to you. You was not him last night. Seriously, this is bad. We did out rebound them by the end of the game, which was actually really surprising to me because for the first half of the game, they were killing us down low on the boards and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But we made up for it by the end of the game. The assists are always a good indicator of how the Raptors are doing. They got 29 assists, just one shy of 30, and we only got 25. Now, 25 assists in the past would be a fantastic number for a Nick Nurse team that plays isolation and doesn't really pass the ball around very much. But 25 assists in a Darko team is not right. We need 30. We need 30. And why are the Cavs scoring 30 points every single quarter of the game? That's horrible defense. We couldn't stop them from scoring. They scored over 30 all 4 quarters of this game last night. And that is absolutely a big, big red flag and bad. We cannot have these teams coming out and just scoring willy-nilly on us. So 30 points every quarter for the Cavs was a big problem. Big problem. Fast break points, they stymied us. Only 13 fast break points. And they knew this. They knew this because we've had this reputation as a transition team that does better with high percentage easy baskets that we get off turnovers. Well, they limit their turnovers and they don't allow us to get out running. Well, that cuts off about half of our offensive goodness as far as things. And that's too bad. It's really smart, sound decision-making by the coach Atkinson to try and not let us get out and run. Now, the other thing is the points in the paint, as I said earlier, real big problem. 68 points in the paint is a lot of their points. That's like half of their points. And what can you do? I mean, it sucks. We needed Jakob to be Jakob, and Jakob was not Jakob last night. There's something very weird about Jakob and how he's playing. It wasn't necessarily passive, but it was just off. Let's just put it that way. It was just off. Yeah, the fouls weren't that bad. In some ways, they did do weird things with putting that other team in the penalty. Mark Davis was kind of a butthead on a couple of calls. The challenge call was interesting with Scotty wanting the challenge, but he was wrong. He did kind of get him with his hip or something. But yeah, Mark Davis saying, yeah, the Raptors are unsuccessful at challenge. They lose their timeout. They don't get another challenge. In some ways, this is something that maybe Scott is going to need to review with Darko as far as like, when do I get to call the challenge and when should I call the challenge? Because that was a little bit off too. Now, don't do it for an ego reason, Scott. Do it for a strategic reason that's going to help the Raptors in the game and really, really seriously understand how the refs may bullshit like around what you want for the call. If there's any little room for possibility that you might have fouled him with any part of your body, you should probably just let it go and just not try and do that. Now, I understand that was when Scotty was going to get a fifth foul and the foul trouble wanted to be avoided. So in some ways, you want to just try and do it. And in some ways, I agree with doing it for that reason. But also at the same time, like Alvin and Vince and then we're talking during the broadcast, you don't want to get to the point where you're the boy who cried wolf on the challenges, Scott. You can't be, you may have a special designation as the team leader and the franchise face to be able to call for a challenge and ask Darko to call one. But if you're wrong on them too often, that's going to change. I'm going to say that right now. That's going to change. So make sure you're getting the right calls on that. So yeah, team stats. Ugh, gross. As you said, we were with them on most of them, but honestly, not really. Not really. The stats are weird. The points in the paint are the really telling ones, and the shooting percentages, where they shot better from three than we shot from field goal in general. That's really, really bad. Really, really, really bad. All right, let's see. Trevor's saying Shed, Charles, Shed, Chris, Grady, Battle are my stars of the game. I thought Jamal Shed made a very impressive rookie debut. I would have put him on the stars of the game, but I wanted to give Battle a little shine. It is really true. All our rookies had very good, impressive debuts for having their first night and their jitters. It seemed like the team had worse jitters overall as a whole team, but the rookies came out and looked solid. I mean, Mobo hit a 3 for his first shot ever in the NBA. All of them got their first points in the NBA. Shamshay did get in. I said yesterday, if Shamshay's getting in, it's a blowout either for us or them. Well, it was a blowout for them. But Shamshay came out and he was 1 for 1, which was pretty good. Got 2 points, his first NBA points, which was kind of cool. It was a little midi, which was interesting. And in some ways, that portends the future for Shamshay. Hopefully, that will be the part of the court that he inhabits. He chooses to do most of his offensive scoring from. That'd be awesome. Mobo was cool. He got a little mixed bag of what he can do. 2 for 4, 1 for 2 from 3. He made both his free throws, which Brian Macon was very happy about in his Instagram stories. He was noting that. We saw Brian at the end line there. Let's see. 1 steal for Mobo, also 7 points. But Shed, getting back to Shed, who you guys brought up, 3 for 7, 1 for 4 from 3. The 3-pointer he made was really good. It was right in stride. And I was like, yes, Shed, that's what we want to see. 3 for 3 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 1 steal, and a block for Jamal Shed with 10 points. But alas, he was a minus 21. He was having a winning factor. In fact, there was that one possession where Shed was real dog on defense and didn't let up and was relentless and made the Cavs cough up the ball. But the thing Shed were not effective against slowing down Donovan Mitchell. And Donovan Mitchell was guarded by Oshai in the beginning. Oshai was kind of doing some good stuff for a little while, but Mitchell really did kind of do whatever he wanted to on the court, and that was a big problem. It's really too bad that IQ got hurt, and he had to leave in the first half because he would have helped things a lot in the second half. He was one of the few Raptors that actually was kind of holding water with us, and that's why the whole time he was out there, he was only -2. 13 points for Quickly in 14 minutes, 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal in very limited time. If we had gotten more of Quickly in the second half, we may that wouldn't be a 30-point loss. It may be more like a 5 or 10-point loss, honestly, if Quickly had not gone out. I'm really worried about this because honestly, Garland undercut him. And very, very dangerous. And I hate dirty play like that. That was a very, very dirty play where you protect himself when he's falling down. I wish the referees had called it for a more serious play because honestly, they should be dissuading people. I'm glad they actually called a foul because they should have. But in some ways, you should have said flagrant foul because you undercut somebody like that where they can't protect themselves with any of their limbs and they land on their tailbone. That is really, really, really dangerous. And it looked bad. It totally looked bad. And watching Emmanuel walk around afterwards, it shook him. It shook him. He's a tough guy. He's very, very tough and hard-nosed. But also, we got to understand, even these little piddly injuries that aren't so bad, they may be overcautious with them. I think RJ could have played last night, but they're being overcautious. If you're just even a little bit injured, well, they're going to use that as something and tell the NBA this guy can't play because of this. And I'm going to predict right now, IQ is going to be out for a little bit now because of this injury last night, and it's going to really hurt the Raptors start. It really, really is. That's interesting what's happening with Joel Embiid. They're investigating him being held out this week. I think that's very, very interesting. I was joking yesterday. It's like Shams, don't bomb the Shams bomb about Joel Embiid being investigated for being ruled out too early. Do it after we play them on Friday, because I don't want any pressure on Nick Nurse to put out the big dummy on the court just because the NBA is investigating them for him sitting out. So yeah, the Sixers were a mess last night. They got messed up by the Bucks, by the way. Yeah, looking at the rest of it, Pirtle, man, I'm so sad about you playing like that. I know this is not you, and this is like the one out of like 12 games that you would play like this. You would play 10 of these games absolutely on top of things. Maybe like 4 or 5 of them really double, top notch, making most of your shots, getting blocks, and then like maybe a couple just steady and just doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe like 2 or 3 games where you're a dud. And this was probably the worst out of like those range of 12 games. I mean, he had turnovers like crazy last night. 5 turnovers for Jakob in 26 minutes, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. But yeah, 2 of 6 from the field. And that big man's not taking outside shots. Some of those shots are very, very easy shots that he just missed. There were bunnies that were missed. And it's too bad. In some ways, we could say him and Scott just had one of those nights where basketball gods say it's just an off night for you guys. Because Scotty's shooting 3 for 14. You think that's going to happen very often? No. Especially he wasn't even taking a lot of threes last night. It was really more inside. He was missing short shots. Now, was that the bothering of the length of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley? Most likely, yeah. Those guys are long defenders that get in the between Jakob and Scotty, and they did a good job of doing that. And that may have been a big factor. That's, once again, me saying what I said yesterday. You got to win your matchup. And in some ways, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen came out there to win the matchup against Jakob Poeltl and Scotty Barnes. And they dominated them, but not only scoring on them and all the points in the paint, but also stymieing those two guys from getting going themselves. And that was a big problem with that matchup. Oshai was interesting. We've seen offensive outbursts by Abaji in the preseason, the last couple games. And last night, he only managed to get 3 points. He got one shot, and then he got a free throw. But he did have 6 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds. So he's getting after it. 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. But yeah, he was a minus 18, only 3 points as a starter. In some ways, I could get mad at that, but also at the same time, I got to say, well, his defensive stuff that he had to do last night was a heady, tall order. But nothing was working right. Scotty said after the game, the effort was not right from our team and that we have to do better. And that, in some ways, we got our ass whooped. That's what he said. We got our ass whooped is what Scotty's own words were. So it is what it is. Let's see. Who else should I look at? Garrett Temple got in and got to play. That's always a bad sign that things are going wrong. But in some ways, we see Garrett out there with the rookies late in the game, being that mentor on the court, being that coach on the court, and teaching people in the middle of the game. Like I saw what he's talking to Mobo. Really, really good stuff there. I like that. Davion Mitchell was tough last night. In some ways, I like some of what he was doing, but he did have 5 turnovers. He was 4 for 10 from the field. He missed all 3 of his threes, only 3 assists and 2 steals. There were a couple of bright spots for Davion, but overall, man, in some ways, I was not impressed with his defense on Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland. Garland didn't tear us up, and he could have. Honestly, he's that kind of guy. But Mitchell definitely did tear us up. Mitchell definitely did. So, yeah, looking at the box score and kind of going over the other Raptors. Oh, yeah, and Grady, too. 5 for 13 for Grady, 2 of 6, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks. In fact, there were 2 moments where Grady made me go, oh, wow. Actually, there were 3. There were 3 moments where I was like, these are Grady moments. The first one was when Sam Merrill was guarding him, and he did the step this to the left to shoot the 3 around Sam. That was awesome. He faked him, and then he just stepped to the left and made a 3 next to him. And then obviously the finger roll coming down the baseline, going through the 2 Cavs defenders was absolutely picturesque. And as Alvin and Vince said, he didn't even use the glass. He finger rolled it in the air up into it. That showed high-level skill, and that was a wow moment. And then there was the block that Grady came and blocked a shot in a big major way at one point. Just kind of like Jamison Battle had a big last night. That was impressive to me that those two sharpshooters were blocking shots. So I feel like Grady did have some bright spots, but once again, he took a lot of shots last night that didn't go in. And there, we need him to be very spot on. So yeah, looking at the box score a little deeper there. Yeah, let's see. Smooth saying, I don't remember an opening night being that ugly. It's only one game though. No, that's the worst loss the Raptors have ever suffered in all 30 years on their opening night. We've never ever lost by that much on opening night. I believe that Kurthika was saying that the worst loss before was in 2001 against the Orlando Magic, and it was like a 29-point loss, maybe. So it wasn't that much. It wasn't that much worse. It was just a little bit not as bad. But yeah, this sucks. This sucks. A 30-point loss to open your season at home, and you've got luminaries like Damon Stoudemire, TJ Ford, and the Junkyard Dog sitting there. And you count Vince being there in the broadcast booth. You get Damari Carroll sitting at the visitors bench on the coach's staff of the Cavs. Then you got Matt Bonner in the studio doing stuff with Sherman and Brad Fay. There's a strong alumni contingency in there. And I loved seeing Damon Stoudemire getting his flowers. He said some nice things to the crowd. TJ Ford being there meant a lot to me. He's somebody that gets forgotten in Raptors history. And seeing him there was awesome. And of course, the JYD. The JYD is awesome to see. It's kind of funny to see Jerome run around with his mascot person. They have mascots of some of these old alumni guys that they use and they run around. And I think, it's kind of funny to see Jerome with mascot Jerome out there. That was pretty cool. But yeah, the alumni stuff was fun. Some people are being very critical this morning of the red court with the purple jerseys. But I'm going to tell you this right now, guys. And I was talking to Commissioner Jay about this before the game. I think the look looked pretty good, honestly. Some people are saying it doesn't look right. Well, that's only because it doesn't look normal to you. And everything that's like initially doesn't look right will be kind of foreign, and you'll be like, oh, I don't like that. That's not how it looks. You can think about when the first time we got the Raptors logo with the this logo right here. First time we got this logo, a lot of people were like, what the fuck is that? I hate that logo. It doesn't look like, what is it? But it's grown on us, right? So everything, the first time you see it is kind of like, that's not right. It doesn't look right. I actually think that, and I'm going to predict this right now, guys. They're going to make both sides of things happy. See, people want purple on the Raptors for some reason so badly. I hate it, honestly. And I really do feel like it comes with losing. But, you guys want it so much, you're going to get it. And that's the sad thing. Next season, purple will be instituted as one of our regular colors again. Watch. But I think it's going to be these two colors. Seriously. I think that we're going to be more purple and red going forward. And that may be our rebrand next year, guys. So the color scheme that you saw on the court last night, get used to it. It could very well be our next color scheme because I do know they're going to do a rebrand next year. And I don't think it was a mistake that they put. I think that they were trying the color aspect. I'm serious. So be ready for that. Yeah, I love the montage in the beginning of the old classic Raptors with the new Raptors. Stuff like you see Vince on the court with IQ. Chris Bosh is involved in this. DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet. A lot of old Raptors faces in the montage showing the old Raptors history to get you hyped and get you in the right feel about the nostalgia of a 30th anniversary season. There was one clip where they showed the team getting ready in the prayer circle in the back, and they showed a couple of different eras of prayer circles, like from Vince era and the original expansion Raptors. And it was very, very cool. I love all that nostalgia stuff. It is a trip down memory lane for an old Raptors freak like me that's been here since the beginning. And I really did enjoy the production, but what the Raptors were doing that. Of course, they screwed up at the beginning of the game with the intro video in the arena. They did not switch four corners off and put on the music for the hype video, and they fucked that up completely. So Four Corners kept playing his music just because nobody cued that music. I mean, is that going to be symbolizing this season that right now? Because seriously, in-game ops, you fucked that up so bad. The hype video, when they're doing our intros, our starting lineup, you guys dropped the ball and you failed on that. And don't think I didn't catch that. I saw it. I saw that. So yeah, a little bit about last night. Yeah, let's see. Smooth saying at least the Raptors gear is getting rave reviews by the NBA community. They love it. Yeah, they love it. I don't necessarily love it myself. You know, in some ways, they like the way it looks. Some people are haters are like, yeah, they're back to the purple dinosaurs. Ha 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 ha. You know, don't necessarily think that the brand popularity across the NBA is actually something that's very nice or something that is nice towards us. Don't believe that because some people really do understand what I understand that when the Raptors wear purple, they're a shitty team. And they're happy about this because the era of red Raptors being top Eastern Conference defenders is over. And this is symbolic of us bringing back the purple. That's why I hate this shit. That's why I hate that I'm wearing this purple hat tonight. Because honestly, I wish purple had never came back. And everybody who wanted this, well, you're getting what you get now. And in some ways, you know, the popularity of the jerseys, who gives a shit about that? I want the win column. I want to win. I want to do better. And in some ways, you guys want to worry about the court and the color of the jerseys. You're fucking half-ass fans. The people that are more worried about that shit than actually getting better as a team and stuff like that. You know, I'm getting so annoyed about some of the Raptors fan nation that are so critical about stupid shit like that, and then they have the audacity, or they're like they care more about that. Then they have the audacity to come around and say, "Oh, I know this about our front office. I know this about our coach," and they suck. Well, you're the one who just fucking cares about purple dinosaurs on jerseys, motherfucker. I care about getting this team right and building it right step by step right now. And honestly, it's annoying to me. I wrote Casey Bannerman a message this morning. He liked it. I said, this is what we get for bringing purple back. We get all the purple losing vibes back because purple or equals losing, Raptors fans. And you young fans wanted this so bad. Well, get ready. You know, if you stick around and watch the team with us still, okay, you're a real one. But honestly, if you were one of those people that wanted purple so back and then you're going to see them lose and then you're going to turn the TV off and abandon the team, fuck you, is what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say about that. Yeah. I don't love it. The rest of the league can love it, but they have nefarious reasons for loving it. And honestly, y'all go ahead and go buy your old purple front blackbacks. I got the originals. And I listen, I don't like wearing these jerseys. Seriously. I put them on last night just because what they were wearing. In some ways, it don't look right. It doesn't look right. Vince and Alvin sitting there watching the game. They wore those jerseys legitimately in their games. And you know, that brought back nostalgia. I have really give some credit to Vince. Seriously, Vince is a great announcer for a game. He knows basketball very, very well. And I really did like him being the straight man to the funny guy of Alvin Williams in the broadcast last night. It shows how far Williams has come as far as his broadcasting comfortableness and how good he is with how he does things. They were really, really good last night. And also big time kudos to Matt Devlin for being the guy to know to step back and just let those two vets go ahead and do their thing together. Matt Devlin dialed himself down a lot last night with his call, and he just let Alvin and Vince talk. And that was exactly right, Matt Devlin. That shows that you're a real top professional and you're giving us what we want. Because in some ways, Vince kind of jumped in and did more of what Devlin would do in some ways. But yeah, Vince and Alvin were bona fide hit as far as calling the game. You know, I hate Vince Carter, and I'm not a big fan of his, but he's starting to warm my cold heart towards him. And honestly, him showing up and calling it a whole entire game with them last night went a long way. And I am actually looking forward to hearing more games called by Vince. In some ways, he was very fair. Now, he was kind of kissing Darius Garland's ass a lot during the game. But for the most part, I thought Vince did a very, very good job. He wasn't an op announcer. He was actually for the home team. And in some ways, he's starting to seriously get in my good books. And last night was a good thing. It's very risky because he could misstep all kinds of ways verbally while he's calling the game to piss me off, but he didn't manage to do that. And that says a lot that he did a good job. And he's showing respect. And in some ways, I really am starting to feel his humility and honor of the Hall of Fame, the retiring of the jersey and all that kind of stuff. He's actually feeling it, and it really does mean something to him. So you know what, Vince, you're starting to really win me over, seriously, in some ways. It's really, really good. Trevor's saying the Sixers lost, so they are hungry for a win, so we better be ready. Yeah, I'm not liking the recipe for Friday at all right now, especially if Emmanuel's not going to be able to match up against his old Kentucky teammate Tyrese Maxey on Friday. I'm not liking what things are looking like, but you know what? We're going to do what we do. We take it day by day, just like our coach said, and we're just going to try and do what we can to do what we got to do for what's in front of us. And in some ways, yeah, Philadelphia, you're coming to see us on Friday. Well, let's see if the Raptors can have a way better effort on the court. And if we can look at what we did in preseason when we played the Celtics the first time, this was very much a game like that. When we went to Boston and we played their second team and we shat the bed. Well, the next game we had a wake up call. Scotty played at an extremely supreme level, and we beat Tatum and Brown by 1 point in the preseason. So I mean, if that pattern shows where like Scott's like pissed, he's like, fuck, we got our ass. We look really embarrassing. I don't want that to happen again. Maybe he comes out with a new energy on Friday and he leads the team in a totally different way. And maybe the shots go in this time instead of like just seeming like they won't go in any kind of way. Yeah. Smooth saying that's another L, man. Won't be as bad, but another L. Well, we can't say that for sure, Smooth. I think that you're probably right. But hey, I thought that they were going to lose the Celtics in the second game of the preseason also, and that didn't happen. That's right. Smooth saying I had them 2-8 to start, so let's see. Yeah, there goes out the window the 4-0 start that Bradley was hoping for a couple days ago. Yeah, and I forgot. Actually, we played Denver on Monday before we get to play Charlotte, so the 4-0 was not going to happen. 4-0 was not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen now. Smooth saying the Cavs bigs were getting whatever they wanted, feasting on us, man. Yeah, and it was established very early when Evan Mobley got so many shot attempts on the first possession to clean up his misses. I was like, oh, fuck, this is bad. This is really, really, really bad. Nako's saying Scotty's been overall inconsistent since preseason. I want to feel bad for him, but got to hold that consistency. Can't let frustration cloud his game. Yeah, he understands this. In some ways, like after the game, Scotty was handling it the right way. He's not upset, but in some ways, he's pissed. He's pissed at himself. And in some ways, that's the person he should be pissed at. I will say this. I caught Brian Macon at one point on the end line, and they caught him, and he looked so mad. He was like angry. I think he was a little disappointed in what Scott was doing on the court. I mean, him and Scott worked so hard in the offseason, and not being able to see Scotty excel, really played horrible. I'm sure that's dismaying to Brian Macon, his personal trainer. Now, some people like you shall not be named, and some other people say they have an inside line with somebody like Brian Macon, and they feel like Brian Macon's not very happy with Darko. I don't feel like that's true. I don't feel like that's true. Although there was a point yesterday where they showed Brian, and he just like had a shitting face on his face. He just looked really like somebody like put something rancid in front of him, like something smelled bad in front of him. And I mean, I get that. Let me look at the Instagram stories real quick because that's kind of where this is. We got Davion Mitchell coming in the game wearing Muhammad Ali on his shirt. I like how the Raptors put the jungle motif in the hallway for them coming in, just like the media day pictures. That was pretty cool. Also, Davion's got a preacher talking about, do not grow weary and well doing. My favorite scripture. The Bible says God is not unfaithful and he will not forget your labor of love. Everything that you've done, all the hours you put in, the stuff you did in secret, see, and then God will bless it. It's just beautiful. So he's saying, he's talking about in the loss, there's work to be done, but also, the work will pay off. God will see you through to better times. So Lloyd was out on the court yesterday. I don't know where Lloyd is playing. What about Lloyd playing intramural? And he's bombing threes. He's nailing it. And I wrote Lloyd and I said, man, maybe we need you on the Raptors with the Broskis, my man. But yeah, Lloyd still got it apparently because that man was nailing threes in his little rec game. Scotty's best friend there. Let's see, Jay Shed getting his first bucket, and his friends are celebrating him getting his first few buckets in the NBA. He did look like he belonged. And in some ways, somebody was asking on Twitter, I don't think any of the rookies looked that good last night. Well, Jamal Shed actually looked good, even though the Raptors didn't look good overall. And that fat ass Georges Yang came out and bombed some threes on us. That was so annoying. Yeah, but Shed looked good. He had some real sharp moments on defense, and he made some outside shots, which made me happy for sure. Grady Dick showing off that Miami Vice look with Scotty in the hallway before they came in. Somebody was saying, I think it was Kaz, was saying that Grady looks like Gomez Adams from the Adams family with the pinstripe white buttons and the black suit that he was wearing coming in the game. And then Scotty was wearing some sort of suit also. He wore it in the post-game presser. And some people were like, man, Scotty, you need to change your clothes or something like that because he's wearing like a suit jacket with no shirt underneath it. It is what it is, man. Let the guy be who he's going to be. Come on now. But yeah, Grady getting dapped coming into the game. And then that really nice finger roll between the Cavs defenders was awesome. Yeah, I wonder why the Cavs have to have FSU uniforms. They basically stole the look of Florida State Seminoles basketball uniforms. They have the same almost colors, and even the font of the lettering is very much just exactly like Scotty Barnes and mine's alma mater where we went to school. It's very weird. Gary Trent Jr. had a good game last night playing against the Sixers, getting some revenge against old Nick Nurse and his team kicking the ass of the Sixers. Very, very cool. Jay Nathan is got a Christian video that he's got talking about more scriptures and keeping the faith. This is what these guys need right now. That's for sure. Let's see. He's got his San Francisco teammates on there also. They got something about who's going to be next, and he's on the advertisement with Dean Wade and who is that? Somebody else. I'm not even sure who those other two guys are. But yeah, Mobo's first shot made in the NBA is a three-pointer. Who would have called that? Seriously. Apparently, Jonathan only made 2 threes his senior year at San Francisco. And now his first NBA basket is an NBA regulation 3. That's pretty impressive, actually. Pretty impressive indeed. Yeah. And all right, let's see. Who else we got on the Instagram? I think that's about it. Let me see. Matt Devlin's got a season opener. And him starting up his 17th season as the Raptors play-by-play announcer. Good stuff there. The Raptor in the house. He was at City Hall yesterday with the 30th anniversary flag, and they had the CN Tower lit up for the Raptors last night. That's good stuff. Raptor coming in with the purple suit on, coming in the backstage. Scotty Barnes showing the Raptors are back, baby. So he's excited about the season coming back. He was saying a lot of cool things. DJ Carton with the dunk on his. Of course, he wasn't suited up for the game. He was one of the guys who had to sit out for the game last night. Let's see. Is there anything else in this Instagram stories I should cover before I leave here? Oh, guys, real quick. The 905 have reacquired Kevin O'Banner. So Raptors 905 will have Kevin O'Banner back. That team is so stacked. And in some ways, listen, if the Raptors are going to be like last night, let's go watch 905 this year and win a championship, because honestly, that may be our best bet for winning this year. Honestly. All right, there's your Instagram stories real quick. Kevin O'Banner back on the 905. That team is stacked, man. I'm telling you, 905 is going to be so entertaining this year. It's going to be really, really cool. All right, let's keep going. Nameless is saying, I just want to be the first to say that RJ did not play, and you were wrong, Lex. Boo the man. Boo-ums. I know. I knew I was, and you're throwing tomatoes at me. I knew I was probably going to be wrong on this. I was holding out hope. I was just like thinking, oh, maybe there's going to be some sort of thing. I knew maybe he could play, but he didn't, and it's too bad. And he didn't end up addressing the crowd either. He said he was going to address the crowd 2 days ago, but it was Scotty who did the welcome to the fans. And it may be because he wasn't playing. It didn't feel right for RJ to do it if he wasn't dressed up. So I don't know. Whatever it was, RJ was needed last night. He could have very much helped us when our offense stagnated in the second quarter and we didn't keep pace with the Cavs and their scoring in the second quarter. They absolutely got a 20-point lead on us by halftime because they just killed us then. We did all right in the first quarter. The first quarter was the only quarter, although we did lose every single quarter. We got outscored by them every single quarter of the game last night. It's too bad. All right, throw the tomatoes at me. I was wrong. But I was right about Emmanuel last week. I will say that. They officially told me RJ was going to out. And I was still saying, oh, man, I want it to happen. I was just willing it to happen. It didn't happen, Nameless. Didn't happen. Nago saying there was some exciting defense that first quarter. You know, there was good defense at different times, but not really. This game was all over the place. And there was no real set time where the Raptors had kind of set up, we're a defensive team and we can stop you. The Cavs were doing whatever they wanted. And specifically Mitchell and Mobley. That Mitchell was doing whatever he wanted on the outside, kind of toying with us. And then Mobley was getting too much opportunities down low. We needed to come and meet them with force and keep them out of our house. And we didn't do that. This guy went right down low and established the points in paint immediately. And they didn't turn back there. Trevor's saying it's only one game, not like it's game 24. So no need to go crazy. We still have 81 games to go. I know. In some ways, it's great. That's promising, but it's also like, oh my God, what are we getting ourselves into this season? We'll have to see, Trevor. You know I'm gonna be doing this either way. And in some ways, what I got to do today is be realistic, be honest, but also optimistic too. And that's why I'm wearing the glasses the whole entire stream today, because these glasses symbolize that the future is still bright, guys. And I feel like it's still that way. It's just that we're at very much point zero and starting our brand new climb. And I will reiterate that the Raptors are zero experience altogether right now. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, well, they've been a nucleus together for 3 or 4 years, and they were in the playoffs last year. So they have some tested, tried and true things that they've done to build to where they are right now. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what they mean when they say rebuild. You got to build time together, build with things together, and hopefully you find success as you go, as you're building, so that it gets better and better and better. That's what you want, right? That's what you want. That's right. Let's see. Smooth saying, yeah, Scotty really has to lock in and realize he's the man. Can't be drifting though. Only one game, but it's been a problem since last season. You know, I don't even know. Like sometimes I think it's like anybody. We have biorhythms. Sometimes you have really good days where you feel awesome. Some days you're kind of off. And yesterday was an off day for Scotty. I could tell. In some ways, some of those shots that were not going in, he was even like botching his free throws at one point. These are signs that it's either like, man, he's just not with it, or he's just not in the zone. And that was something. And then there was also, like I said, there were shots that probably would have fallen normally, but it's just sometimes you have these kind of off days. And I think he just had a really off day. Seriously. In some ways, hopefully he'll come correct on Friday, and it'll be very different. It'll be like, wow, this guy's unstoppable. He's the absolute best player on the court, even though it's the Sixers. Then they may have Paul George or Tyrese Maxey, So G's saying Scotty didn't come in the league as an offensive player. Was some of our worries about building around him so soon. However, he doesn't need to be the first option to lead. RJ and IQ can be that. Yeah, and I believe that's probably true. One of the things we really missed yesterday was our veteran core from last year when we started the season. We had Pascal, we had OG, we had Dennis Schroeder. These guys really kind of keep things steady. And this is part of the thing we've tried to warn people that love Scotty so much and wanted him to be the man with nobody else around to help him, is that if he's the man like this, well, it ends and stops with him. There's no Siakam, there's no Van Vliet, there's none of these guys to bail him out and save him in these situations. And that's the scary thing about this. It may have been a transitory year last year, and like we needed to, change the new era. Well, changing the new era is partly this, is that we let go of some of the safety nets that were around Scott that could bail him out and help him when he's struggling. And that's the scary thing right there. I think that's the scary thing right there. Smooth saying RJ has that mentality, man. He's really the guy that has to assume the leadership role. It's going to take some time with Scott. He has all the tools and we'll get there, just not yet. I think that it's not that he doesn't have it. It's just consistently having it. Because I saw it in Brooklyn. I saw it in the last game against Boston in the preseason. We saw it last year at times. It's just that can he show up every night consistently and give that? And that's the difference between being a great player and a superstar in the league from before, is that you could count on faces of teams in the 80s like Alex English or Rolando Blackman or Isaiah Thomas or Michael Jordan to come with a consistent superstar level effort that you could depend on every single night. And this is where the disconnect is with the new superstars in the NBA now, is that there's a lot of guys getting annoyed at this kind of stuff ahead of it that are not really that. And then you see the inconsistency from night to night where they don't show up with that same level of play. Scotty's stat line is not that far off from a triple-double. He's only got 9 points, but, he gets a couple more points and other things. He does some stuff. In some ways, Scott's got to realize if I'm not going to be hitting my shot like he wasn't last night, he's got to go full effect on the glue stuff as far as stat stuff and getting assists and getting the rebounds and doing everything else. And he needs to be cognizant and aware of this in the middle of the game and change just in case he is having a very poor shooting night. And that could have been a factor in helping things. Of course, the game got busted wide open, and you don't kind of want to have him out there too much in a very, very much a blowout game late. He could have maybe fixed his stat line a bit if he'd played more in the fourth quarter. But what's the point of playing in the fourth quarter if it's like this and we're not making any ground on their lead? So, if Battle and Dick had like barraged the Cavs with a bunch of threes in the third quarter, and we were more set up to try and go for a win against them, like 15 points or less down, we may have seen Scotty Moore at the fourth trying to win it for us at the end. So, but I'm not going to disagree with this about RJ and what Smooth's saying. In some ways, he, as I just said, is a way more consistent person that's going to come in and give us something every night in a certain way. That he's proven he has a pattern of consistently coming out and doing the same thing most of the time he comes out. And that's why I really love Barrett. And in some ways, that's the leadership that Smooth's talking about. Nameless is saying, think of it this way. At least now we have the number one odds to draft Cooper Flag. Or the flag this year. Now, the tank people, the people that want this to happen, well, you may get what you want in some ways because of all this. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's going to be a long season that we can't overreact to just one night, but this is not a good first night. No, it's not. And it's showing a lot of very serious problems the Raptors are having with interior defense, at least against the Cavs. But, there may be a lot of teams that kind of have big guys that can come and bully us like this. So Yaka, wake up. And Scotty, you got to do things better, man. You got to do things better. Smooth saying RJ, 4 years in New York, the face of Team Canada, all that at the age of ripe age of 25. I'm not going to disagree with this. And we've had Shannon come in here and say RJ's the real leader. And some people will say this, and I won't disagree with them. But I think we can have multiple leaders that do different things. And it's also very good to have certain leaders on certain nights that step up if other nights certain leaders are off. And that's why I was saying last night, RJ could have really helped us a lot if he had been healthy and playing last night. Because some of those stagnant places where we needed leadership in scoring, RJ would have stepped up and took care of it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And even Emmanuel later, if he had played in the second half, he could have helped us a bit more with filling it up for sure. Name was saying, all jokes aside, they just need to get healthy right now. I hope we're not saying this all season. We've seen these kind of cycles with NBA teams where there's like, okay, this guy gets healthy finally, and then somebody else gets hurt. And it's just like over and over again, we never have our completely healthy team, because in some ways, it's right. We have a talent deficit when we don't have all of our talent there to match up with the other talents. And not having regularly not having a starter or two regularly not available to us for games is going to hurt. And we're going to lose because of that. In some ways, I'm saying, yeah. Trevor's saying Mobley handled Scotty last night, 25 points. He did, and that may have been very, very on purpose in some ways. Mobley's probably got a real grudge against Scotty getting the Rookie of the Year that year in different ways, and Cavs fans have it obviously. So I mean, I can understand why Mobley gets up to play against Scott, but I need to understand why Scotty didn't get up to play against Mobley. That's what I want to know right there. Nako's saying at Nameless, we're getting a stud from next draft no matter what. Well, I believe in that because I rely on Messiah and trust in Bobby. And, I think that wherever position we're in, that's why I don't care about how we do things. If you want to lose on purpose to get a high pick, you don't need to do that with our front office. We can play the whole season the way we want to. Some people get mad if the Raptors are not at the bottom or at the top. They want us to, if we're in the middle, they get mad because they want us to either be absolutely the worst so that we get the highest draft pick or we're winning championship. There's no in between for them. That used to be the case back in the day, but I'm telling y'all, that's not the way it has to be anymore. And sometimes, we need to try and win every much as possible if we can, but if we'll get a lottery pick, and that's just how it is. And I don't want to be like trying to lose just to try and get a guy that we can't guarantee is going to help us in any kind of way. People will say, "Oh no, Cooper Flag will help you, man." Nah, listen, I don't trust rookies anymore. Rookies aren't coming in this league right and ready to contribute in a lot of cases, and that's just the damn truth. That's just the dang truth. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying, yes, only one game. But 30 points thrashing, the Cavs were laughing out there, man. Well, once again, we got to say this. They're mostly healthy. They were just missing Max Strus and Imani Bates. But also, they were in the playoffs last year. And this is pretty much the same team that they had last year. So they're picking up from where they left off. In some ways, we could really say this is a very different team than the losing team that we had at the end of last year. Even Kelly Olynyk was hurt and out. And there was none of the same faces. We got so many rookies. We got to remember we had 4 rookies debut that had never played in the NBA ever before until last night. And as I said, they took up 51 cumulative minutes for just guys who just made their NBA debut last night. And all of them scored, and all of them looked pretty good in their own little parts. So I say that's part of why I'm wearing these glasses right here, is we successfully had our rookies debut, and they didn't look bad. They didn't look bad, although the team overall looked bad. That's for sure. Yeah, let's see. Nako's saying, I stand by that the Cavs are the most overrated team in the league. I don't know if that's completely true. I would have agreed with you before last night, but after seeing last night, Mitchell, if he plays with purpose for them, they're very scary. Those big guys are good. I think that Allen is very much a top defensive center in this league. And then you got Mobley, who's really does have a chip on his shoulder in some ways. So I can't agree with this at this point. In some ways, I thought that they were overrating them, but after seeing what they did last night, I have to give kudos to Cavs, and they may be actually better off with Atkinson. So Cavs fans may be very delighted with their coaches switch, which I thought was kind of a knee jerk coaches switch. But I guess that, maybe they're going to get more out of Atkinson. I really do think the pairing of Atkinson back with the former Nets is on the down low, something very interesting. I mean, Karis LeVert went 8 for 8 for a while in the game. He was 8 for 9 by the end of the game. And that was very interesting to me. That was very interesting that LeVert came out there and just went crazy. Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. That was not Raptors basketball that we seen last night. Chef Darko will fix this, and we will win against Philly. I want to say this right now. People that are detracting Darko and stuff like that, once again, first of all, overall team effort and jitters for a young team that's making their debut can be a real thing. In some ways, the bright lights of a real NBA game in the home crowd and the pressure of all of it was felt by different coming out to make their debut, whether it's Scotty coming out and making his debut as the franchise face in the first step. Darko at the beginning of the game saved free throws for the Cavs, which was awesome. There was a foul, which was Mark Davis was going to give them free throws. It was not a shooting foul, and he argued with him, and he won. He basically told him, it's like, no, this is side out. You are not going to put them on the free throw line because the guy wasn't even in the act of shooting. And he made his case. He argued with them, and they listened to him. So I'm telling you right now, he's coaching out there. He's doing a good job. The casuals will think, oh, well, they're not even playing defense. They're not doing this. What? Like, our coach sucks. Listen, it's all work in progress. He's going to watch the tape with them this morning. He's going to give them the business about not putting better effort in, and they're going to change. Scotty's going to listen to him this morning. He's not going to tune him out. He's going to say, well, okay, Darko sees on the tape right here where I did not put in the right effort for what I was supposed to do at that moment. It's like Alvin Williams and Vince said, it's multiple efforts on plays that were lacking last night. They may have made the initial effort, but you may need to make that second, third, fourth effort, just like Evan Mobley did on his first basket, and just like Bruno Fernando did later when he was trying to do his Akeem Olajuwon impression with his scooting around doing the dream shake. And then he missed it, and then he missed it again. And then on the third attempt, Bruno Fernando tipped it in. There was a lot of giving up on plays early by the Raptors in situations last night where that was like, what the fuck, y'all haven't finished the job. You did one good thing. You need to continue, get the ball and get possession. That was a problem last night, was effort. And that's on the players. In some ways, people say, well, that's a coach's fault. Coach should be getting them up. No. The players are not in the right biorhythm, and they're not out there putting the effort in. The coach will get mad. The coach will ream them out. The coach will show them the tape, and hopefully they will come back with the right effort next time. That's what it is right there. That's right. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. Despite the embarrassing loss, Lex called it. We need to buckle up this season, supporting this team no matter what. There you go, MJ. Great to see you from the Ottawa region of our nation's capital here in Canada. Yeah, exactly. Buckle up. It's going to be a long season. Real ones, stick around. Casuals, go on. Go watch the Leafs this year. Go do whatever else you want to do. Get a hobby. If you don't really feel like sitting back and going the nostalgia ride of the 30th anniversary for the Raptors, getting a 30-point loss on their opening night. If you can't stand that, if you can't stomach it, hey, that's fine. Tap out like you're in the Crippler Crossface by Chris Benoit. I shouldn't have said that one. Maybe I should have said Sharpshooter. Tap out like you're in the Sharpshooter by Bret Hart. Yeah, you go ahead. It's not for the faint of heart. And in some ways, this will be tests for a lot of Raptors fans. You know what I'm saying? Cowboys saying, I didn't like how Mitchell didn't pass it to Prince Shamshay so he could get his first bucket in the NBA. Oh, well, another thinks Shed's defense is elite. You know, Shamshay got his first bucket last night, Bradley. He did make a basket. He made a basket in the lane, a little floater. It was very Giannis-esque. That's what I'm saying. The one basket that Shamshay made was very Giannis-esque, and it was a nice light touch from about 12 feet away from the basket in the lane. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. It was very nice to see Shamshay get out there and get his jitters out. He actually ran the court very well. He was a presence. He was on the boards. So Shamshay had a very successful debut. He showed a lot of good stuff, and he didn't get crazy fouls like crazy. He didn't get like foul every second he was around on the court. So I say it's a very successful debut for Prince Shamshay. Very, very successful. Also for Shed, too. Fiercely saying, bonjour. Shed and Grady, very nice display for those threes. The others were sadly off, and now that OG is gone, Donovan Mitchell was able to go off. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to just say people are doing things to us because OG's gone, but I mean, that's actually realistic. You know, also, people are giving a lot of credit to Gary Trent Jr. for his display of defense on Tyrese Maxey last night. So they're saying that, like, yeah, in some ways, Gary was an underrated defender for us also. We got to remember that he's gone now, too. But we want to think that our new dogs and Jamal and Davion are ready to take up the task of clamping down. It is what it is. You know, Grady was not totally shooting very well, but he had some nice bright spots. That's what I would say about that. Smooth saying, a loss I expected. A 30-point blowout. No, didn't expect that. No fight after the first quarter on opening night. You know, it's like the wheels came off the cart, Smooth, and we could never put them back on. People like RJ and IQ could have helped keep the wheels on the cart. Kelly could have kept the wheels on the cart a bit too. But that's part of the problem is that when IQ hurts himself, he's not playing the second half, and we don't have the right people to try and get that kind of mentality and putting the wheels back on the cart. Well, we're in trouble. The cart wheels just stay off, and the Cavs are just having a field day and running around doing whatever they want. You know, that's a big part of it right there. Any relax about this. No more comments from me. You're good, Smooth. Don't worry. In some ways, I appreciate you guys so much for being here on the day after a loss to talk about what's going on here in an intelligent way. In some ways, it's emotional, but in some ways, also, we've got to be kind of realistic and speaking about what it is what it is. And in some ways, there's no use in us getting all bent out of shape, honestly. Cowboys saying, let's go, Raptors. 3-1 to start the season. Let's go. All right. So you still saying, all right, we're going to beat Philly and Minnesota on a back-to-back this weekend. And then on Monday, we'll turn around and beat the Nuggets here. Okay, Bradley, I love what you're saying. I do not want to put any money down with what you're saying, though, because I think we're going to lose it. I think we're going to lose it. Yeah. He likes seeing Choclair at the halftime performance and to see JYD and the crew. Yeah, it was very, very cool to see Damon. Damon does really care about his Raptor roots, and I love that. I mean, in some ways, him being an assistant coach for the Celtics in recent years made me wonder about that. But no, he really does honor, and he understands that, like, he wouldn't even be like as well known as a player in the NBA if he hadn't been drafted by the Raptors and been rookie of the year and been a part of the very first season of the Raptors. In some ways, we got to think about this. For Damon, it's like a very nostalgic 30th anniversary because 30 years ago is when he was playing for the Raptors, right? It'll be 30 years next year. So it's like this is a culmination of what he started. So, of course, it makes sense that the first Raptors alumni that we celebrated in our 30th anniversary was the original Roy Mighty Mouse, Damon Stoudemire. I really did love seeing him there, too. And JYD is always good to see, of course. Yeah. I hope that they can have enough alumni. Like having so many at the first game, I was shocked because in some ways we want to kind of have an alumni almost every single game this season. And that would be a tall order. But having like TJ, JYD, and Damon all at the first game, that's a lot of alumni at the first game right away. Yeah, loud and clear. Thank you guys for being able to hear me. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't show me the register of the little dots at the bottom that it actually is going through. So I appreciate you guys being there to do that. All right, let's see. Where are we in the chat with no. Nins, good morning to you. Nice glasses, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, they're on backwards. But yeah, the future's so bright. We're going to try and do what we do. Bryce is saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Bryce Lawson, holding it down in the K-Tuck. And David's saying, that was absolutely pathetic. Scotty needs another beating by Lex. What the fuck? Schooled by Mobley. Pathetic. Yeah, I don't want to beat Scott. I don't want to beat him. I want to encourage him. I want to tell Scott, you're a badass and we believe in you. This is kind of Darko's philosophy as a coach, is to make his players feel like superheroes. And in some ways, we want to build up Scott as feeling good and having the vibes, kind of like the Memphis vibes were when Darko was an assistant there. That was a big part of it. Dillon Brooks and them having that swagger. In some ways, this is highly valued by Darko in his coaching style, that he makes these guys feel like good as far as like superheroes. And in some ways, Scotty was an ordinary Clark Kent last night. We need him to be the man from Krypton. And in some ways, you got to come out and bring that energy different on Friday. Yeah, I'm not going to come after him like that, David. Scotty, I love Scotty a lot, and I respect him in certain ways, but I will constructively criticize him. Say, yeah, you got beat by Evan Mobley, who a lot of people think should have got rookie year over you. And you need to prove that over and over again, that you are better than him. So the naysayers that say that don't have more fuel to their fire. That's right. Let's see. Cowboys laughing. And he's saying, Mobo brings energy to the game like Boucher. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, I can see the parallels right there. In some ways, he is kind of doing Boucher stuff. I think that he has more strength in some ways. I also think it's very interesting that he hit a three. Like, that's not something I'm expecting from Jonathan Mobo this year. And the fact that his first shot ever was a three is actually kind of interesting. David saying Jakob is no longer our center. No idea what happened last night, but he was getting bodied by Mobley and Allen. David, you're overreacting. You're doing exactly what we are telling people not to do. You're in your feelings, and he's very competitive. And he's upset. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like telling me I need to cuss him. Listen, I went off and said that Jakob had one of his worst games as a Raptor last night. But you can't say he's no longer our center. Come on, man. This is just one game. And out of 12 games, like I said, he may have this one game out of 12 games, but the most of the other games out of the 12 are fantastic games where he's absolutely solid in everything he does. It may have been the matchup because Allen and Mobley are a bit of a load as far as a 1-2 punch up front. But honestly, we could just get just as mad at Scott because he has a certain part in that tag team matchup also. The Road Warriors went out there and they got beat by the Powers of Pain. And in some ways, we've got to be, it is what it is. But yeah, I think Jakob had an off night. And, you can get mad at him, overly mad at him, but saying, oh, he's not our center anymore. No, he's what we've got. And in some ways, it's not helpful to say stuff like that. Bryce is saying, I know we weren't supposed to win last night. Well, I thought we were. But Scotty definitely threw me off. His body language is disgustingly, and he let Mobley barbecue chicken him. Very unacceptable from Scotty. He'll bounce back. Well, that last part is the one part I'm going to concentrate on what you said, Bryce, because he is going to bounce back. I don't want it to be a bipolar kind of year for him where he has a really bad game and he gets motivated to kind of make it better because of that. But there has been a pattern of this with him in the past. We have to understand that Scotty may have a dog game and then he sees all the criticism, or maybe he feels it on himself and he's motivated to come out and be the absolute best version of himself. I don't know. In some ways, this may be preparation thing, maybe a mental thing, as far as he needs to understand. Maybe every game you come in, you need to think that you had one of the shittiest games of your life before, even if that's not true. I mean, seriously, in some ways, you may have been riding high off of the success at the end of preseason and thinking, oh, I'm just going to come this season. No, maybe you need to come into the games every night, Scott, feeling like how you felt after the game in Boston during preseason. That may be the best way. Just trick yourself. I mean, Michael used to do shit like this. Michael Jordan used to use all kinds of interesting techniques to bring out his absolutely sharpest competitive edge. So, I mean, listen, it did throw me off to see Scott struggle so much. But, I see him out there doing this. And like I said, some nights the basketball gods in the world out there are just going to say you're having an off night. And Scotty had an off night, and Jakob did too, to be quite honest. They both did, yeah. Let's see. Cowboys saying we will bounce back. Great pictures by Monique. Yeah, Monique returned to the arena last night, taking some fantastic pictures. I saw she was with that fan guy that won the jersey. The guy who was like going to go and do something for somebody, but then it didn't work out, and he felt like ripped off. Yeah, that dude's cool. I forget what his name is. He's a Raptors super fan. And yeah, it was of course great to see Mo there. She had a fantastic time at the game, seeing the arena and seeing all the new 30th anniversary decorations. But as she said, the win wasn't what she wanted. But otherwise, that she had a fantastic time with the vibes. Yeah. Let's see. Cowboys saying, "Let's go, Darko." Yeah. I hope that listen. People are going to get mad, knee jerk reactions, and sometimes the targets of it will be Darko. The targets of it will be Scotty. This is going to happen. It's going to happen. David's saying it's going to be a long season if Chris Boucher is the best player on the team by far. $240 million contract, Scotty. That's it. Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. No, it's not hopeless, David. See, you're chicken littling, man. This is what I was trying to say when I was on To The Point, where we can't be bipolar and we can't be like overreacting either way. If we'd won the game by 30 and everybody thought we were going to win the championship, it'd be the same kind of action. So let's not do this. This is a long season. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of time to grow and learn. And saying that this is absolutely hopeless is not helpful. And it's absolutely untrue, is what I'm going to say about that. Cool Cat saying, "Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Season opener must shocked our youngins. Grady development looked good out of the gate for year 2. Great T-shirt for 30th anniversary. That's the highlight. Game year 1 of rebuild. Calm down." There you go. I think Cool Cat's right. I saw that shirt when I saw it in the pictures before the game. I was like, ooh, Cool Cat and Monique are getting a nice purple shirt. They put the logo just up in the corner. It's not a big graphic over the whole thing. Yeah, that's a beautiful shirt. And once again, I like the purple they use now more than the original purple. The original purple was a more lighter purple, and it was uglier. And the darker, more rich purple of those shirts is the right purple. And it's the same purple we used in the 20th anniversary when Kyle Lowry wore old Raptors dinosaur jersey. That was a more rich, deeper, darker purple. And the original Raptors purple is an ugly, lighter purple. And that's something that people aren't realizing right now, that these jerseys aren't exactly the same jerseys, besides the little shoulder thing part that's going on up there. So very, very interesting. Cool Cat got a shirt, and that's her highlight of the night. I mean, I get it. Cowboys saying Grady with that one shot by the basketball. I think it was, again, Mitchell. Wow, wow, wow. Grady is fire. Yeah, there was some good stuff. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Grady impresses me at times, but also, in some ways he's going to have not the best shooting percentage in certain ways also. At least he's daring to shoot, and he shoot a lot. And yeah, it is what it is. I'm not that mad at Grady. He had some real bright spots, but once again, he wasn't as efficient as he could be. Also, I mean, you put him and Scott's shooting line together, they're 8 for 27 for the game last night. And that's bad. That's bad shooting for one person. 8 of 27 from the field. That's no good. That is no good. No good. Yeah. Let's see. Nako saying wins and lessons. That's how you approach basketball in life. That's right. That's right. And it's just, everything's cyclical in the NBA. The Celtics went through a really horrible time where they were just absolutely dreadful and bottom dwelling. And it just happens that way. It comes around. It comes around like that. And we're just on a lower ebb part of where we're supposed to be with our franchise right now. We've had our highs and we're going to have our lows, and then we'll have our highs again. It's all cyclical. And, New York has toiled in bad places for a long time. Philly, it's just like people said, Jack Armstrong said, the Raptors had a really good run at the top of the Atlantic Division in the age of Masai, and it's over at this point. And in some ways, for us to recapture Atlantic Division championships and titles in that division, we're going to have to get a lot better over time to be able to do that now. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. It's just how it's got to be. Kareem's here. Good to see Butt Dial. Not all is bad. Let's see how Scotty Barnes bounces back. It's an early test to see if he really is the franchise player. I said this last year that RJ Barrett might be the leader of this team. I think that once again, we can have multiple leaders, and I think that they're already saying that this is fine. I mean, Scotty has a lot of respect for RJ. They competed very hard against each other in high school. And RJ has a lot of respect for Scotty. They've got it all in the right place. I mean, RJ, in some ways, the way he had to deal with the leadership structure in New York, this is not new to him. So everybody's okay having a share of the leadership. I think that it's the fans' proclivity to want to be, oh, this guy's just the leader, number one. No, this isn't the Hulk comic, and this isn't a little green man with a huge forehead. No, we don't have to have just one leader. We can have multiple leaders on the team at the same time. And that's what barbecue is. In some ways, we could say this is a griffin. This is a three-headed monster that is going to have a hydra that's going to our leadership. And in some ways, RJ will have that bona fide, aggressive, on the floor scoring basket kind of tenacity leadership. Scotty will have a creativity and a connection and a communicative leadership. There's different kinds of leadership, vibes and explosiveness and making huge shots. Manuel quickly, and then you got Temple, you got Olynyk, you got different people adding in different stuff in different places. So, I mean, I don't want to say like everybody wants to do a power rankings of who's the leader of the Raptors. Is it RJ? Is it Scotty? We don't need to do this. Just let them all lead in their own way in different ways. And Scott is the franchise face. Scott is the guy it's all around, but that doesn't mean he's the leading scorer. And I think that that's the thing you're trying to distinguish right there. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you, Kareem. Cowboys saying if the Raptors play with the same energy as Boucher, we would win every game. Let's go, Raptors. I'm not worried. Like Trevor J said, we have 81 games left. We goody. I think that people really do need to understand that opening night jitters are a real thing. And that, that Cavs team has a lot of vets. How many rookies did they debut last night? Yeah, how many? Seriously, I don't think they debuted a single damn rookie last night. These were all guys who were in the playoffs last year playing against teams in the playoffs and playoff intensity. Meanwhile, we've got 4 out of our 14 players that are absolutely making their rookie debuts. And in some ways, a lot of the guys on our team were making, even though Grady's a second-year player, this is different. He's coming into the second year as a starter. And that's totally different than where he was a year ago at this time. So we need to realize that opening day jitters can manifest in a game like last night, especially when you have 5 rookies on your squad. That's what I'm saying. So that's one thing that we need to remember is that's a playoff team. That's a team that's been together 3 or 4 years, and we are rebuild zero starting from now. And we had a bunch of guys that may have had a nervous energy because this is the big show, the big time. We finally made it, Jamal Shed. And that's what I'm saying, guys. That's what I'm saying right there, that people have to remember about that. People have to remember about that. That's right. Let's see. Smooth saying, Kareem, Thomas, RJ is the leader of this team, man. Let's not slight Scott. Give him a chance. And it's going to be over time. We're going to see this. And once again, there's no reason to just designate one man as being the leader. There's multiple leaders on this team. Cowboys saying, I agree. RJ Barrett was the big missing piece. He is the leader. Yeah, he would have helped us for sure. I think that we would have had a better chance to try and win this game if we had both of our Toronto guys in there. Kelly Olynyk would have made a big, huge difference with some of the stupid shit that was going on down low. And RJ Barrett would have helped our stagnating offense in the second quarter. I'm telling you right now. Nako's saying stream is getting a little choppy. Is it just so you know? I don't know. It could be your end. It could be mine. It seems fine on my end. The other day when it was going in and out, it was telling me. But right now, it's telling me everything's fine. Gerald is more likely on your end. Let's just put it that way. Transit's here. Guardian Transit. It's been a little bit. Good to see Guardian Transit in the chat. Unfortunately, Scotty did not bring the beast in him onto the floor last night. He was not physical enough. He needed to put his weight into Mobley and Allen. Second quarter, they seemed all out of place. Yeah. In some ways, we showed weakness, and the Cavs capitalized it. They were merciless, and they were very smart. They were very smart about how they went about it, and they dissected it. In some ways, it's a compliment to Donovan Mitchell in controlling the game and how he did. And this is true too, Transit. As far as like Scotty showed going into the lane with force and putting the other teams on their heels against Brooklyn and Boston the last 2 preseason games, that did not happen last night. For some reason, somehow, some way, maybe they were stopping him. Maybe he didn't come with the right aggression into the energy of the game like he did in those preseason games. Well, hopefully he'll be motivated and he'll bring that aggression against the Sixers on Friday night. That's what I say about there. David's saying we clearly need another center. I haven't said that the entire 4 years I've been here. Yeah, we don't need a new center, David. That was one bad night. In some ways, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are a very tough combo up front for any team in this league. I don't give a shit who it is. It could be Jokic. It could be any of them. These guys are a pair, and they've worked together very well in the last couple of years. They're one of the main front court pairings in this league that are very fearsome to people because they are both very much good together. So, David, stop overreacting in all this kind of way. Once again, this is not about putting people under the bus and saying this person needs to be off our team and we need to improve this. Whether it's our front office, whether it's our coach, whether it's Scotty Barnes, whether it's Jakob Poeltl. I'm not standing for any of this shit because, first of all, it's not productive. It's not useful. It's just toxic. And it doesn't. It's not like they're gonna fucking just switch out Jakob all of a sudden like this. Like they can't. Seriously. So let's be realistic and let's not be toxic because that's toxic behavior, David. Right there. You saying we clearly need a new center? No, we don't. Jakob had one bad night. Scotty had one bad night. We don't need to get rid of either of them. Let's see. Cool Cat saying felt bad. Fans started leaving the arena at halftime. Then third quarter, only a third of the fans remained. Must be hard for Scotty to witness after years of seeing a full arena. Fans need to reset expectation. Well, in some ways, this should motivate him. In some ways, this is the thing. You guys wanted a team around Scott. This is what it is. I mean, I tried to warn people that you need to value Siakam and Fred and Anunoby more, young fans that think that these old guys are just holding Scott back. No, they're carefully guiding Scott with training wheels. And in some ways, that dude wasn't ready for the training wheels to come off, obviously, from what happened last night. And that's the thing. I tell y'all youngsters that think you can just do it so everything all right without the help of people that are just a little bit older than you, you're wrong. And in some ways, this is the I told you so that I have for people right now. That, listen, and I know that maybe feasibly, economically, it wasn't going to be possible with Siakam to stay here or Anunoby. But that's the difference between opening night last year, and this year is that presence of vets around Scott that are kind of, there with him to help him with carrying the load was not there last night. And that's just, he has younger people than him now working with him. So he has to be that guy. And he's not totally ready. Now, we can understand this with every superstar in the league at different times, the growing pains of learning to be the man on the team and doing this. And y'all do not knee-jerk react like David is doing. It's not smart. It's not smart. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to skip your comment because I might actually put his name on the cannot talk about list on here because I have a feeling this season people are going to try and bring that guy's name up over and over again. I hate seeing that name in here. In fact, I don't think it's worthwhile to even mention him. Yeah. You want to alley-oop for Cool Cat? I can do that. Cool Cat, thank you for staying till the end of the game. You are a real one for that. And people that left, you know what? It's your money. You don't want to feel like being there anymore. That's your life. But yeah, it's up to you to do that. In some ways, you might have missed a really cool play, lost by 30. That's what I'm saying. All right, I gave her a 5-pointer. Shaq Lindsay saying another big we have, Bruno. Laugh out loud. I'm just glad that we kept Bruno. Seriously. In some ways, I was down on him. I was like, get rid of him. But no, we have no depth up front in some ways. And Bruno absolutely is like a Band-Aid on a dam that's like busting water. And in some ways, Kelly Olynyk can't come back fast enough. And maybe we do need to make another signing and make a very tough decision is what I'll say. David's saying the refs started headhunting at the end of the first quarter. They won that quarter, the refs. Yeah, I mean, not really. I mean, once again, I'll say, Scott, don't depend on the refs to bail you out. Mark Davis is who Mark Davis is. And, in some ways, we were getting pretty good calls in the first quarter. They did change the calls, as David said, around the beginning of the second. And that did have things, but we needed to adjust and play better. I'm not going to blame the refs for anything. I mean, Mark Davis is exactly who we know Mark Davis is. And I'm not going to use them as an excuse for anything that happened last night. Honestly, it is what it is. Fiercely saying, yes, special mention to Bruno. He did hustle hard yesterday. Yeah, I really appreciated the third and fourth effort that he had on certain plays later in the game in the second half. It really was something we needed more of. David saying Grady's 1-versus-3 drive to the net. He got tackled, not on the shot. Come on, guys. Yeah, that was a bad call. You're exactly right about that. And when he hit the floor, I mean, that was Donovan Mitchell launching his body into Grady as he was like laying it up, and then Grady going flying out of bounds over by Nat Bhatia. And obviously Vince and Alvin saw it, and they're like, whoa, that's a foul. That's a foul. And they called it out. And then Vince said, Mark Davis. Mark Davis. So at least we know that Vince Carter, as a 22-year vet of the NBA, he knows about Mark Davis, and he's very much calling it out. Oh, Mark Davis. He won't say anything else. He doesn't have to, because he's going to save himself from a fine. It's enough for him to just say, oh, Mark Davis. It's so deep when he says that. You know exactly what he means when Vince Carter laments, oh, Mark Davis. And that's what that was. Seriously, there was some of that. Sean Wright, he's okay. He does some stuff. JD Rawls is such a young green ref. And, you know, they were fine. But Mark Davis was running the show, and he was kind of a dick last night. I'm not going to lie. He was for sure. And that was a bad call, David. You're exactly right. Smooth saying IQ and RJ care about winning. You can tell from their body language, they're not letting this go, man. Yeah. Yeah, and Scotty does too. Let's not get it twisted. Scotty does too. It's just that, once again, you can be such an overly powerful NBA player, and you just don't know how to focus your energy in the right way yet. And in some ways, that's what it is. Scotty is so powerful, but in some ways, he still hasn't harnessed and focused and directed his energy in the right way towards what is going to make the Raptors successful. He's going to get it, though, guys. And he has gotten it on certain games in certain ways in certain situations. And some of them have been very difficult situations. So just hold on. This is part of the development. As much as the young rookies got to learn the NBA and get introduced to it, Grady's got to learn to be a starter. Scotty's got to learn to be this guy and learn how to control things to help the Raptors win as the number one main guy. I'm just saying, you know, and that's true. RJ and IQ are guys that really care about winning, and they know what it takes to win. Scotty is learning it also, and he'll get better and better, guys. I'm telling you. Yeah, that's it. Let's see. Guardian saying, I think we would have been money in the bank keeping Carlson over Bruno. Carlson has size, can block, rebound, and shoot the threes. Sorry, Bruno was let go for a reason. His defense is not good. No, Brandon was let go for a reason, Guardian Transit. I guess you didn't see my streams on this. I was okay with Brandon Carlson when we picked him up on draft night as an undrafted player and on a two-way. I was like, wow, this guy's very interesting. He can shoot threes. He's a center. He can block shots. But then I saw the reality of him at Summer League first, and I was like, okay, this is not that good in some ways. And you know what it is? I'm going to tell you right now, Guardian Transit. Brandon Carlson will never, ever play in the NBA because he has no strength. He is weakling. He is a weakling. He is an absolute weakling. And, you know, he wouldn't have helped jack shit last night. He would have gotten pushed around and been absolutely ineffective. And Bruno Fernando is actually out there holding some strength with people. That's the problem right there. The Raptors saw Carlson in the Summer League in the preseason, and he is a useless defensive big. He's only good for three-point shooting and help side blocking shots. He's not useful in the NBA. He's not an NBA player. And the thing that's the problem is his age. That man's a 5-year red shirt, full college career Utah player. And he's coming to us at 25. If that man didn't build any upper strength or any kind of ability to have strength, he's not going to build it now because he's already 25. He's a late project, and it's too late for him to add strength and weight. So he's not an NBA caliber player. And you know what? Even his three-point shooting is suspect. It looks good at sometimes. We saw it kind of cool at Summer League, but that's what we learned in preseason. I paid very close attention, and this is why they switched the two-way off him to Jamison Battle and let him go. Bruno Fernando is a proven NBA player that can mix it up with the big boys. He's not the best, but he can be at least in there kind of counterbalancing. So it's Carlson's useless, and I'm glad they cut him, just so you know. Yeah. Nameless saying, how can Lex even read with those on? He's got enough trouble without them. I know. I was like going to take them off, but I'm getting adjusted to it. I'm going to go ahead and do it because the future's so bright. I have to keep this on the whole entire stream. That's why Nameless right there. Cool Cat saying, this year Scotty will know what it means to be a number one option when opponents scheming for you, learning lessons all season, manipulate defense, filling the Siakam role, then someone else fill the OG role. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, Scotty may need to fill the OG role some nights, and some nights the Pascal role, some nights the Fred role. And that's what he's got to understand, that like he's got to figure out the opponent. He's got to figure out the mismatches. He's got to figure out what he is probably most suited to do before he goes in the game to help the team the best against that particular opponent. You know, there was a discussion between Alvin Williams and Vince Carter last night, and Alvin was asking Vince, because Vince is not that far from his career. Just a couple years ago, he retired, and Alvin's been out for a long time. He said, did you notice, Vince, that over time, players are not playing cerebrally and thinking and analyzing mismatches in the middle of the game and going taking those opportunities? And Vince was like, yeah, this is true. I don't understand that. I came in the league and when Oakley and all those guys, and we were all about mismatches and going after them. But these young players, they don't even understand this aspect of the game. That's why I keep saying, Scotty, you want to be top-notch level NBA superstar that you should be, you need to understand what these younger players do not understand and have forgotten about that the old heads used to do. And that's analyzing and picking apart mismatches that you get. If you get somebody like Sam Merrill or whoever on you, you know where to go back him down and take him into the hoop. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, these young players are not utilizing mismatches and doing this kind of stuff. Well, that's their own damn fault. Go and do that, Scott, and that'll help you so much. But you have to cerebrally think about things ahead of time. And your assistant coaches and your coach, Darko, need to set you up with understanding this is what we're walking into. And with your multiple bag that does so many different things, on this night, we need you to concentrate on this aspect of your greatness. As far as, well, we need you to go down low and beat up on a smaller person guarding you. Or in this game, we may need you to really help out with the rebounding and the interior defense. In some ways, that's something that Scott should be kind of getting his head around every single matchup he has this year. It's like, okay, it's Philly. When we're going to play them, I really have to be good defensively against this player. And if I can go to this area on the offensive side and habitate there this game, I may have a lot of success. That's the way you got to do it, Scott. You got to premeditate success like Magic Johnson would. And you got to pre-visualize the matchup and understand what you're coming up against. You should have been dreaming about Evan Mobley for 3 nights before this and thinking about every single fucking move he wants to use on you and being a counterbalance for it and dreaming you're successfully how to counterbalance it. That is part of success, is pre-visualizing and pre-meditating and planning and thinking about it. The best plan is a plan that you have made and you have practiced and prepared for. And in some ways, that is something you could improve and do better, Scott, to get better results in the game is what I'm saying. That's right. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Fiercely saying Yak needs to trim his beard and do his hair. His swagger will go up, will come with that. Yeah, and shave his back, maybe. I don't know, shave his shoulders. I don't know. Yak can be Yak. Just Yak being yakking with his yak hair and yakety yak yak. Don't talk back. You know, listen, I was watching the pregame interview with Darko, and Trevor J was watching it with me. And I was like, you know what? Yak's name is in the middle of Rajakovic's last name. So it's like Yak is in the center of Rajakovic's last name. That's a joke. Center. Haha, he's the center in Rajakovic's name. Anyway, that's a bad joke. That's a Raptors nerd joke. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying to watch, especially on offense. You know, he's got his pluses, and we've got to use them. But the minuses can be a problem, and that we have to hide those. And in some ways, there was a little bit of that. I didn't think Davion was that bad last night. He was energetic. He was up and down the court. He was putting in effort. And in some ways, we needed more of that on the court, like him and Shed. And that's something I wanted to see. Yeah, Cowboys saying hi to Eye Candy. Naco the Nacho saying, ref, watch how Donovan or so is so-and-so is guarding me, how Scotty should approach it. No, you know what he needs to do? First of all, he needs to show that he's a badass and make them feel like, oh, they're ignoring him to give him the calls. He needs to shut up and just do things and go about his business and not complain right away. In some ways, he needs to just show excellence. And you know, down the road, when he gets their respect more, then it'll go way further when he complains to them. But complaining ahead of actually doing things on the court is never a winning formula, Scott. You have to earn the right to complain to them, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. And in some ways, you are doing more damage by complaining. Honestly, they're less likely to give you what you want because you're being like that. Seriously, that's the sad thing about that. That's the sad thing about it. Smooth saying Scotty should have taken Fred's advice. Fred was right, man. In some ways, I'm not going to disagree with you. There's a lot of things about Fred VanVleet and when he was on our team in different ways that I miss. And I think that a lot of casual idiots who hated Fred are eating their words at this point. Honestly, they're eating their words. All right, let's see who's here. Kenyon's here, guys. Basketball Reference. All right. First, a few things. First off, Barnes has never been number one in his life. So this is a very new role for him. I agree with this, and he has to get used to it. He will have to learn to be rock steady with his emotions and temperament. This season is about learning. There you go. That's a great first comment. Basketball Rewinds in the house today, guys. Yeah, I agree with this. In some ways, this is so true. I mean, you could say maybe he's a number one in high school, but maybe that's not even true. I mean, there was a very talented team at Mount Verde. At Florida State was definitely not the number one. And in some ways, he hasn't totally been the number one for the Raptors at all in his career so far until now. So yeah, this is a really good point by Kenyon, and I agree with this. This is a season about learning. He's got the right focus. G saying the whining is one thing, not running back on defense is what really needs to work on. Cool Cat, exactly. We said this. Pascal took a lot of pressure off him. He will learn in real time. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I agree with this. I agree with this. In some ways, that's the problem, and he knows this too. It's like it happens every time, Scott. When you take the time out to complain to the refs, there's something bad happens on the other end in transition with the other team scoring, and that's something you've got to totally stop doing because that's really bad effect. A really bad effect. So he's saying he's going to stop. KLM's here saying, good morning, Raptor Streaks. It's been a while, but I'm just glad Raptors basketball is back. Back to see you, KM. Good to see you, man. And happy to see you back in the chat. It's been a while. And yeah, I figure some people are going to come back because the games are back. And thank you for coming back and checking in with us on a reaction day after our first night. Fantastic. Cowboys saying the Cavs got lucky. We had an off night. Yeah, we have off night on our team. It's not supposed to be on our team, Davion. It's supposed to be the off night is supposed to be for Donovan Mitchell, and it wasn't supposed to be for Scotty because Scotty had the off night, which is too bad. Alley-oop to G. Good point. Yeah, we'll give G, the original Raptor Freak trivia champion, alley-oop here. G's always an intelligent comment in my history of what I've seen from him. 96 is where he's at. I gave you a 10 just for fun. You're at 96 now. That's pretty good. All right, let's see. Kenyon saying, second, Barnes needs to recognize his mismatches. Yes. Yes, I was kind of just saying that. Going at Mobley over and over isn't going to help. He has to be better in the paint. IQ was better. Hope he is okay. Great job finishing and getting to spots. Yes. Yes, that was really dumb how he was going straight at Mobley like that. And Mobley, that's the thing that's kind of annoying. And what Cavs fan can really lord over Scotty and the Raptors fan today is that Mobley was stopping Scott. And in some ways, that wasn't the right way to go about it. You're exactly right, Kenyon. If he had came at him and he got denied the first time, in second time he had the ball still, he passed it out after he drew the attention. That would have been a way better option. But in some ways, it seemed like Scott was really trying to force things against Mobley. And that was a big mistake. Exactly right, man. Basketball Rewind's points are right on point today so far. And IQ was better at recognizing this stuff. And of course, IQ was great with the threes. And a lot of the stuff he was doing while we had him, which was only for 14 minutes. It's too bad. Shaq Lindsay saying, I like Yak, but it's hard task for him to cover defensive breakdowns and cover Cleveland bigs. Yes. Yes. Shaq Lindsay is illustrating part of the problem with what was going on with Jakob. Maybe too much responsibility for him in a lot of different ways. It's like he's got to get the defensive rebounds and battle two bigs at the same time. And that is tough. In some ways, like I said, when we slot Scott at the 4, that is kind of bad for the Raptors in their way that they should do things. We should really have Scott at the 3 or the 2 or even the 1 if we could. But if he's the second biggest guy on the court, he has to be down there to help Jakob with big man duties against two very skilled big men that are twin towers, and they are wrecking teams. And they're not just wrecking our team, they're wrecking a lot of teams with that pairing of Mobley and Allen. And that's exactly right. Shaq Lindsay giving a little bit of credit to Jakob because that's a very tall task yesterday. Literally a tall task. Carlos saying, morning, Lex and Freaks. Signs of a young team losing focus after the first and most of the second quarter. Scotty has to do better. Yeah, it did coincide once again with a thing that we've seen in the past with the Raptors, where there's a bench that comes in and there's a drop off in quality of play. Grady Dick played almost the whole entire first quarter. He had the last minute out, and that was it. And that was impressive to me. I was like, wow, Grady's the one starter that got to stay in the longest. They pulled Scotty out pretty early right away and subbed in Chris for Scotty like pretty quick. And the drop off between the starters and the bench is going to be better when we're more healthy. In some ways, having people like Kelly and Oshai on the bench, not starting, will help so much more with this drop off stuff. And once again, your bench last night basically was 4 rookies, is basically what was happening last night. And that's a problem. That's a problem right there. Kenyon saying third. All right, he's got a bunch. He's got them numbered. This is really organized. I like it. Mobo will be interesting because his size makes it tough for him to guard longer players like Mobley. Grady did well. Game 1 done. Learning will happen throughout the season. Yeah, I agree with this. And honestly, Jonathan is impressing me. In some ways, he's one of the rookies that I don't expect a whole lot from. I expect something from Walter. Shamshe is a layaway. It's going to be a while with Shamshe. So it's like, stuff with Shamshe, I'm not really like in a hurry to see. But Mobo seems like he can help right away in glue ways, similar to Scott. And I even said this. It's like he's got a package of skills that can be utilized in different ways, like Scotty, but maybe not on the same level as Scotty. His length is very good. And honestly, this is a guy who could save us with some of the issues we're talking about right now, like helping Jakob up front with rebounding battles and defensive presence and strength. Scotty said Jonathan's a very strong guy. He's coming into the game NBA with a pretty good NBA body already. And the same thing with Shamshe. If Shamshe doesn't get in foul trouble, we need him to be out there in more important minutes later on the season. He could be a big help with boxing out stuff and defensive rebounds and shot blocking and rim protection. So the people are there in some ways to grow into the depth for the Raptors. It's such the beginning. They're babies. And at some point, maybe Jonathan and Uric are absolutely part of the rotation because they're shoring up some of the frontline stuff that we need help with Jakob. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Kenyon came in on point, man. Cool Cat saying Raptors rebound stats only higher because the Cavs sat their main players and ran the bench and third bench set players. So that data is misleading. Well, either way, by the end of the game, we got to that. But you're right. They out-rebounded us pretty bad in the first half, but it cleaned up by the end. Yeah. And G saying good comments, Rewind. Yeah, I agree with that. And Basketball Rewind saying final point. Hope everyone is well. Hey, Cool Cat, not staying, but yeah, take care and stay healthy. Kenyon, thank you for coming through and saying hi. I appreciate your knowledge and your points today. They were very, very on point, and I appreciate your contribution today. I wish you well also. Yeah. All right, let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying we need Scotty to be more in the paint helping Yak than be perimeter oriented. Yes. And that's one of the things they were trying to say as far as getting Davion Mitchell and Shed on this team should take some of the outside perimeter defense that Scotty's shown in years past away from him, and he has to go down low and fight. One of the things that I don't want Scott to be is a lazy player that shies away from contact. In some ways, man, you've got a body, and I know this is hard on labors on your body over the season, but don't be a soft player. I've always loved grinded out power forwards that aren't afraid of mixing it up with physicality. And in some ways, I don't want you to be an Andrea Bargnani finesse, a frontline player. You can't be like Chris Bosh and try and shy away from contact. You have the strength and the shoulders to do it, Scott. And in some ways, we need you to mix it up down there. And that some ways it's the difference between taking a 3-point shot outside to not go in because you're lazy, because you don't want to go in there and take hits. No, we want you to go in there and battle like a man physically with the other team, whether it's for rebounds or getting a post shot up over them. And you cannot shy away from that. You cannot be like, oh, I'm going to take it easy tonight, and I don't want to go into the fray. I'm just going to take 3-point shots from the outside and jack those up. No, we can't do that, Scott. Your best stuff is down there, and you're going to do so much better. Now, some of those shots that you normally would have made it down low didn't go in last night. And that's showing that he had an off night last night, because some of those shots are very high percentage. And I'm like, oh crap. Early he was 2 for 3 from down there. I was like, okay, so they're going in. But then at a certain point, they just stopped going in, and like it was ridiculous in some ways. Like I said, it was like the basketball gods just preordained that Scotty was going to have an off night shooting last night, and that's just how it is right there. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's see. Ken A's here. Good to see Ken A. Original Raptors freak. Mobley destroyed us. We need to figure out how to play for 4 quarters. Yep, we need the energy, we need the effort, and we need the personnel. That's part of it right there. And not having the whole barbecue on the table is tough, man. When you have a B and a half a Q and you don't have one of the B's and that half of the Q is gone for the second half, well, you see what happens. Kareem saying we got outclassed in every aspect of basketball. Scotty and Darko need to fix this ASAP. We should not be getting embarrassed like that by 30 on our home court on opening day. I feel sick to my stomach. Well, that's a little over dramatic, but that's fine. In some ways, we had to be ready for whatever could happen last night, and that's why we needed to be okay with whatever happened. And well, this is you can look at it this way: we're hitting the rock bottom right away at the beginning. Well, let's try and make it go up. So if we see improvement in the next game, let's say we played the Sixers on Friday night and we lose to them by 20 instead of 30. That's an improvement because that's in some ways a better team than the Cavs in some ways. And we'll just have to see how it goes. I mean, let's not be over dramatic. Let's just say this is what happened. You know, you can be a historian and just look at the facts of history and not get overwhelmed by it and just say, report it. And in some ways, as Raptors fans, the less your emotions are involved in this, the better. Let's just be kind of detached and say, yeah, this is what happened. I've said this before as a comparison. As a parent, you know, you have a child and they may screw up but you got to lick L's in life, right, Kareem? You know this with your children. So in some ways that hurts you and it gets you emotional about it. But also at the same time, you got to say, well, they're growing up and they have to go through the lessons of life. And that's what this is. The Raptors are our child and we got to let them go out there and experience life and get hurt a little bit. That's just how it is. Good morning, fam. Kaz on the road. It's Thursday, so he's on the road. That's right. 10-4, Roger that. Let's go. Blackhawk, Neil is here. No offense to Bruno, but if I'm the front office, I drop him and bring in Kem Birch. They get Boogie Cousins as our backup center. You know, this is great. I don't mind reacquiring Kem Birch. I think it would actually be very helpful, but I don't know if it's realistic. It could be that Kem Birch is under contract with a European team right now, and he may be very happy where he is. Fernando is our guy. Once again, we I don't want anybody saying we need to keep dumping people. David wants to dump Jakob. You want to dump Bruno. It's only one game, guys. We got to give them time. And in fact, Bruno Fernando was my second star of the game. So he couldn't have done that bad. Boogie Cousins is in a 3-on-3 league, and Boogie Cousins was washed up 5 years ago. So we don't need Cousins on our team. No, we don't. We got one Boogie, and he's in the broadcast booth. That's right. G saying technically that should have been a flagrant foul, the IQ foul. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that the undercut was very dangerous and flagrant. And honestly, yeah, in some ways you could have said maybe Garland should have been thrown out. Honestly, the two players I am manifesting for us are Markkanen or Kessler types. We're going to have trouble against teams with Twin Towers. You know, I think that once again, I think that in some ways, Jakob was just so off that, you know, normally he's going to do way better holding his own against people like this, but he was so off last night. And you could tell, like, he much like Scotty, there were shots that he would normally just make for sure that he was missing. And then on top of that, the weak ass passes and him turning the ball over in weird ways last night was not totally normal for him either. And, you know, that's going to be the interesting thing when they do film this morning. Scotty and Jakob will be talked about a lot about where they messed up. And them, you know, Jakob's smart. He's been in this league how many years? 9 years. He understands the difference between him playing correctly and him not. And in some ways, I'm sure he's just as disappointed with how he played last night as all of us. Seriously. I could see that. Let's see. Those names aren't bad. I mean, but once again, I'm not trying to throw anybody out or add anybody here. Once again, we're not trying to get another hero for us. We got to go with what we got and develop and hope that these guys get better and we get better outcomes. That's what we need to do. In some ways, it's not Tina Turner. We don't need another hero. We've got our team. We just started the season one game. We got to go forward with these 18 and just see how they get better. In some ways, you guys wanting to do a trade after one game of the season saying, honestly, we're missing a winning type player to mentor or help Scotty during the games to help keep him controlled, focused, keep pace. Kawhi taught emotionless. Kyle taught how to end the game. I don't know if it's exactly that. I think we have those guys. I think that if RJ was active and he was playing, he could help rope Scotty in on these kind of things. I think that Scotty's got it. I think once again, I'm just saying Scotty got an off night in a couple different ways, and we can't overreact on this. In some ways, that's one of the main things I want to do today is tell Raptors Nation to not overreact to last night. It's not worth it. In some ways, if this is exactly what our season's going to be, so be it. It's just supposed to be this way. If it's going to be better, it will get better. I'm sure it will. But, if y'all were expecting us to go 82-0, if y'all were expecting us to be a championship contender, well, y'all were unrealistic and crazy is what I'm saying. So, I mean, we got to balance this all. Come on now. We got to balance this all and not overreact in some ways. That's a really important thing. KM saying, I didn't think IQ would be taken out. I thought he was fine, but let's hope it was just precaution. He's ready to go on Friday. IQ versus Maxi matchup is what I want to see. And Jamal Shed putting Tyrese in lock also in the woodshed. I mean, I would love to see this matchup, but I'm going to tell you right now, IQ is not going to play on Friday. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to be tough for him to bounce back that quickly, especially since it does look like he did have if he wasn't that hurt, he would have played the whole game. But he hit that's a legitimate injury. And you could see it when he hit the floor and he has nothing to protect himself. The back of his back hit the floor squarely. And that he was walking not exactly right. He's a tough guy. He doesn't fake this shit. If Manuel is able to play, he's going to play. But, in some ways, they're also thinking precautions. And also, once again, this is an MO for NBA teams. If they are kind of silently tanking, that any kind of nick or scratch or injury will be a DMP. Or, hey, we're just putting in a caution. We're going to keep you safe, and we don't want you injured further. We're going to baby you. That's what I'm saying. These guys have to be 100% and feel good. If they're even a little bit hurt, like who knows how bad Kelly's back really is, they're going to be like, yeah, you can sit out. That's fine. Because in some ways, as we've learned from Tampa and even the end of last year, the Raptors may be utilizing injuries that are real, but over exaggerating them. Not over exaggerating. That's not the right word. I don't want to get them in trouble. But really, like, if you're not 100%, don't play because and I think that's what's going to happen with IQ. He's not going to show up on Friday. As much as I was sure IQ would play last Friday, he's not going to play this Friday. Watch. I'll bet you money. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, Ken Burch is hell playing great. We can't afford him. He's winning a FIBA games champ there too. I'm sure we could afford him financially. It's just that he may be like, I don't know where Kim is in his life. I know Wendy said last night that she wished that he was still in the NBA and that she missed her Raptors family. So maybe we can put in a good word with his mom. And maybe Wendy Sparks can come and say, hey, Kim, the Raptors need you. And you want to come back to Toronto? I mean, I'd love for this to happen. I'm not against this in any kind of way. I just don't know if it's actually any kind of way in the cards. But I mean, it'd be a dream to have Ken Burch come back and be healthy and absolutely show out for the Raptors in a big way. But I don't know if it's realistic. Blackhawks saying the allure of coming home will bring Ken back. Yeah. Add to our Canadian quotient. It's not like it's hard for him to come back here. He's been here before. And in some ways, it'll be nice. This would be his third time with us, I think. I think he's been on our team 3 times now. That would be crazy. I mean, I'd be all about it. I'm not against having Ken Burch back. I like what you guys are saying. Cool Cat saying, will be interesting to see Shed and Davion go at Maxi on defense on Friday. Yeah, this will be a great matchup. And hopefully Mitchell will play more solidly all around and Shed will continue his winning ways. That's right. That's the one thing is like I could see Shed's playing winning basketball, but it's not adding up to actually winning. He's understanding in his rookie game, his first game ever, how hard it is to win in the NBA. Right away. Brian's here. Let's see. What's up, Freak Nation? Hope y'all noticed the positives that came out of the game last night. That's what we're trying to talk about, King. That's what we're trying to talk about. Y'all check out To The Point. I appeared on his show earlier this week. It was a fantastic episode. Definitely give him a follow. Skipping the King. Dap. That's right. Carlos saying first quarter was very positive. Sustain that for the full game. Well, there you go. We could look at the first quarter, and that's on tape. and teach our guys to expand it further and further into the whole course of the 48 minutes. And that is a good starting point. That's a very good point right there. The first quarter was a good quarter for the most part. Maybe there's some stuff we could have done defensively better down low to hold them out of the fort in the lane. But the first quarter was still pretty good tape. And, you have a good first quarter in this first game. Maybe in the second game, we have good 3 quarters. Maybe we put together a 48 minutes of a good good quarters at some point, and we see a W. That's what I'm saying. Cowboys saying, do it. Always do, Brian. There you go. Okay. Cool Cat saying Matt Devlin is a professional with a high level of emotional IQ, empower past players in broadcasting, and giving more confidence to Vince in his celebratory tour. Kudos, Matt. You're the best ever. Well, Vince doesn't really need this. He's a seasoned broadcaster, and he showed it. He may not be a good public speaker when it's about him, but he's definitely good at analyzing basketball and stepping in and putting his comments here and there. And, Matt Devlin is just doing his job in some ways. People would rather hear Vince and Alvin talk about the game than him. And Vince is not needing more confidence in that area. Honestly, he's very good at it. He's been calling games. Even when he was still a player, he was calling games. Like he was calling summer league games and stuff like that before he actually retired. So I don't know. In some ways, Vince is very savvy at that job already. Let's see. Cowboys got Cool Cat on blast. Okay. Nameless is saying, here's what I know to be true. It is always most difficult to open up a season at home. I think you will get a much better performance against Philadelphia. Well, we're playing them here too. It's not like we go on the road. We're playing it here against Philadelphia. They did this last season, and it sucked. The first Friday of the season, we played Nick Nurse and the Philadelphia 76ers in Scotiabank Arena, and they kicked our ass. Well, it's the same thing as last year. We got Friday night Sixers, first home game on a Friday night, second game of the season, just like last year. It's just like last year. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how to predict anything at this point. And some just say, you know what? Let's just watch the game and see it for what it is and try and enjoy it. Enjoy moments. If we get the W, hey, we can be excited. Yeah, it's a little bit different than past years of how we watch the Raptors, for sure. Alley-oop to Nameless, we can do that. My paisano is awesome. He hasn't been giving me the Italian lessons anymore. Maybe he should be giving me the plumbing lessons since he's a learned plumber at this point. Let's see. All right, we'll give him a 5. Well, we've been given 10 pointers, so we'll give him a 79 is where you're at now. Nameless. Yeah, I can't read things very well with the glasses, but I'm doing it. In some ways, I'm going above and beyond, even with the vision a little blurry. All right, Carlos here saying we saw this in preseason as well. Bad game from Scotty and then bounce back the rest of the games. Maybe Scotty doesn't do well after a few days off. That could very well be it. I don't know. I don't want to think that Scotty's taking things casually coming into preparation for a game like last night, but the energy kind of did feel like that in some ways. Yeah, I think that you're right, Carlo, and I hope you're right, that in some ways he's embarrassed. As he said, we got our ass whooped. And, in some ways, if he cares about that, well, he'll show up with a better energy on the next game. That's for sure. Coach Roach is here, guys. Coach Roach, what's up, man? I'm so happy to have such an intelligent coach, knowledgeable about basketball. I really appreciated being on that panel with you the other day. It was a pleasure, man. And I appreciate you being here in the chat this morning. I'm going to give you a dunk, man, just honorary dunk. Coach Roach showed up on our chat today. We got a couple of the Basketball Rewind guys here today with Coach Roach and Kenyon being here. All right, you get a 5-pointer. You got the Emmanuel Quickly to start right off the bat, Coach Roach. You got the number 5. There you go. Welcome, Coach. So happy to see him. Brian's here saying, at Fiercey, I seen the MSG. Oh, you seen the message. I'll get back to you, and thanks for the Freak Nation support. There you go. Let's see. Roach in the house. There you go. Shout out to all in here. That's right. RFF is a big fan, Coach Roach. Everybody, a lot of us saw the To The Point, some of us for the first time, and they got to know you from being on the panel this week, and you got some new fans here. I think people like you here. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm really honored that you are taking the time to be in the live stream this morning. Randolph's here. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Do not waste any moment of the day. Use the negative and the positives to boost productive and successful outcomes. I love that. Listen, the lessons are a blessing because they give you the direction that you need to get going in and to fix it. And listen, there were lessons last night, and we got tape to look at and to work from and to get better from, and that's part of it. Randolph, thank you for your words of wisdom. We'll go see the third wise man, which is our guy, the kid from Kiel, Leo Routens, with his life tip this morning. He's saying, if you have 1 foot in yesterday and 1 foot in tomorrow, you're pissing all over today. I love that. I love that. That's so cool. In some ways, he's like using a bad word in there. Leo, you used the word true. You don't want to be too ahead. You don't want to be stuck in the past. That's exactly Darko's philosophy for the season. All the media is trying to scare him with the schedule. Ooh, the schedule's so scary, Darko. Ooh, he's like, nah, man, listen, I'm living present like Eckhart Tolle, and I'm in the power of now. And now is tape today and going over things with our team and making a practice probably to fix some things and then to prepare for Philadelphia. And there was no thinking about Philadelphia until Cleveland was out of the way. And that's the important message from Leo's life tip today. Stay in the moment. And if you're in the moment and you're having problems and you need to fix things, do what Randolph's saying. Go towards making the positives and the negatives, what you need to do for that day to get better. That's right. I love it, man. Good stuff from our wise men. Thank you, Trevor, Randolph, and Leo. That's right. Cool Cat saying, I hope we can get a handle on all those injuries. It really impacts the assessment of players in rebuilding year. Yeah, this is an annoying thing. Like I've said, this silent rebuild where in some ways you're kind of on the down low tanking because nobody is actually ever healthy all at once. I could see this happening this year. And in some ways it's very annoying and very frustrating for a fan nation like this. As Josh Lewenberg said in the media scrum last night, the Raptors are snake bitten with injuries. I'm like, geez, you have to be so dramatic with this. If there's snakes in the locker room, get them the fuck out. All right. Where's Samuel L. Jackson? They're goddamn snakes on the plane. Nah, get them out of here. Oh my gosh, Raekwon's here. Good to see Raekwon. Good to see you, man. It's been a little bit. Shed, a dog, Gracie, Boucher had good games. We just need more reps. Yeah, I like this. This is the focus. Repetition. We need to be more familiarized. We need more time. In some ways, you could look at the accumulated rep time of the Cavaliers lineup, and it's about 3 or 4 years. And that's something we all have to continue to remember. That's part of what rebuild means, accumulated time together. And in some ways, a team that's at 0 right now, we have 0 reps as a whole entire group. Cleveland has like 3 or 4 with that nucleus. So that's a big difference. In some ways, we got to look at the end of this year, of the first year of a rebuild, then the end of the second year, and assess that way in the progress. And hopefully we're coming along like teams like Cleveland and Orlando, which have been in the process of rebuilds over a few years, and they're seeing a little bit levels higher up. In some ways, I've used this analogy. We're at the mall at the Eaton Center, and we're at the bottom level of the Eaton Center on the bottom level of the escalator. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are up that escalator a little bit higher to get this next floor. And the Orlando Magic, same thing. So we're just starting. We're just stepping on that escalator, and we got to go. There's steps of the hierarchy. And in some ways, we could jump steps past people. Yeah, push them aside and go by them if they're just standing in their spot on the escalator. But right now, we're behind people on that escalator as far as we need more reps. Exactly. That's right. Brian's saying, I love seeing To The Point family and Freak Nation together. Discuss the team. Big ups to you all. Yeah, I am super honored. I know, Brian, you've been here frequently recently, and that has meant a lot to me. But, man, it's blowing me away that Coach Roach is here today. Seriously, that's awesome. Carlos saying, let's see how Coach Darko bounces back in Philly. Yeah. I mean, this is a matchup. In some ways, this is a grudge match that we need. Darko versus Nick. And in some ways, Nick has trounced Darko so far. Absolutely perfect record against us. We need to get a W against Nick Nurse. I'm telling you, for the way he did us on his way out, we need to beat Coach Nurse. I'm telling you. And at some point, it's going to happen, and we're going to celebrate like crazy. I hope it happens this year. I hope that we can steal a game against the Sixers this year and beat them at least once, just so Rajakovic can get that win over Nurse. I really want to see that. Cowboys saying, let's grow, Trini King, and let's stay positive. That performance by the Raptors was not us. Let's grow, Raptors. We're little babies. We're in swaddling. We're not ready. We're like Santino. In some ways, we have to grow like from the level that Santino's growing, Mr. Carlo. That's right. How's Santino today? I want AJ Dibensta, not Cooper. Haha. Okay. We're going to start looking at scouts for college players in the year of 2025. Way too soon, but and near the end of the year, I'll start looking at players that y'all want me to scout. I will do that. I don't watch any college, so I do blind scouts on this channel, which is fun. It's actually a good segment where I actually just kind of look at a player for the first time ever in my life, and I give you my first impressions. And that's part of the reason why I really enjoy it. And you guys actually teach me who's in the draft picture that way. And it's a fun kind of like, how they do music video reaction channels. Well, it's like I react to college players I've never seen before in my life for the first impression. So I'll remember that name, Carlo, and we'll look at him next year. That's right. Rely Masai. He's not done yet. That's right. Where you at, Tractor Isaac? Alley-oop. I want to say that's Tractor Isaac. I know you mean Farmer Isaac. What does the Farmer app say today? You want me to look at the Farmer app? All right, let's go look at the Farmer app. We haven't done this in a while. This is the Old Farmer's Almanac. And, I was using it to live my life. Today is the best day is to dry fruit, vegetables, or meat. So if you guys are wanting to make that jerky, go ahead and put it out to dry. And also to prune to discourage growth. So this fall time is a good time to get out there and prune your trees and shrubs. So today is actually a good day for that if you don't want it to grow very well. I don't know why you would do that. But anyway, there's the Farmer's app for Cowboy in the request. There you go. There's the Darko heads on blast. And wait for it. Raptors are back and stacked. There you go. All right. I like that. That's very positive. Carlos saying, once my expectations got adjusted last, didn't hurt as much. Yeah. In some ways, I thought it could go a lot of different ways and like do something like what we did in the last two preseason games. I thought also it could be a close game where it's nail biter and maybe their veteran experience as a unit together longer may beat us in the end. Then I was also thinking, yeah, something like last night could happen. And well, last night happened. It is what it is. Chris comes saying, nice wake-up call by the Cavs. No excuses, but it's going to be tough with the injuries. Looking forward to the first win this year. Yeah, maybe it'll be Charlotte. Hopefully next week we'll get a win against Charlotte and we'll be like 1-5 at that point or something like that. Yeah, yikes. But yeah, it is what it is. And in some ways, it's like, listen, reality check right here, Raptors Nation, from last night. It is what it is. Cowboy saying later, Lex and family. Dap, keep your heads up. Let's go Raptors. All right, Cowboy. There you go. Cowboy putting Monique on blast. She's probably still resting after a night out at opening night last night. I don't know how we call ourselves fans, but every chance we get, we put our team down. Remember what Masai said, be patient. So if you do not have patience, you're going to be miserable all season. Commissioner Jay, the commissioner of fun on this channel, telling y'all going to be miserable and not have fun if you're going to take this so seriously. Somebody, that's part of it, guys. We can't take this so seriously. We're not coming off 2019 in our championship. We're not anywhere near that period of our history at this point. We are very much starting over. We might as well be in 1995 once again as a franchise. And that's why Purple's shown up all of a sudden again. It is what it is. And in some ways, the best thing to do is to love your team no matter what, even if they win or lose. If you're one of these people that only loves a team when they're winning, well, you're probably, how do you treat your kids? That's what I'm saying. If your kid's not winning in life and they're losing sometimes, are you going to treat them shitty like this? That's what I'm saying. In some ways, you got to be unconditional love for the Raptors if you really want to be a big fan this year. That's right. And Trevor J, he's an unconditional lover of the Toronto Raptors. I know that's for sure. That's right. Cowboys saying 6-pointer for Trevor J. Let's go. Yeah, I'll do that. Commissioner Fun doesn't get enough dunks sometimes. I really do feel like I'm going to give him a 10. There you go. 213 now, Trevor. You're rising up today. That's right. Fiercey saying, yes, Trevor, patience is key. And I like the little emoticon. Randolph saying, Lex, the team is blessed to have RJ, who's an experienced leader who can dominate and lead with his game and passion while Scott learns and grows. Well, he can definitely take some of the pressure off Scotty, and I know he will when he shows back up. In some ways, like I said, it was a travesty that RJ was not ready for opening night, and it would have helped a whole lot. Smooth's also saying, sound crazy, but why not take a chance on PJ Tucker? Solid vet, can teach winning habits, help with rebuild, legit undersized 5, but can hold his own. I don't think PJ Tucker has any aspiration to ever play for the Toronto Raptors ever again. In some ways, he's one of these weird guys. As much as he has origins with the Raptors and he's had time with us in the past, he had a couple stints with us already. Then having him come back all of a sudden for another stint, I don't think it's realistic. In some ways, the weird thing is PJ Tucker won't even play for the Clippers right now in the state they're in. I do not think he would come and play for us in the state we're in either. he's a little bit of a snob. Let's just put it that way in some ways with what's going on in his career. And I don't think it's possible for us to acquire him because he wouldn't want to come here. Honestly, I know that that's an interesting idea, Smooth. I don't know if I'd want him here anyway. I think he's getting old to the point where he shouldn't be in the league at this point. Smooth saying kind of like what Oakley was to Carter. Well, that's the thing. And it's very interesting to have Vince Carter in the broadcast booth talking about this. It's like it's such an inverse from when he came in the league, where it's like him and Tracy were the only two young guys, and the whole rest of the team was all vets. Well, now we've got like two vets, and the whole team is very young. So you got to understand that means it's going to take us some time to get better. Honestly, Scotty, in some ways, is a vet on this team, even though he's so young. And there's a bunch of guys that are right around his age or younger than him. So we've got to understand our age pyramid for our team right now is very, very small at the top with Garrett Temple and Kelly Olynyk and Chris Boucher and Jakob Poeltl. And then all these young guys, you got 5 rookies on this team. And then you got a bunch of 2-year players too. And then a 3rd-year player like Ochai Agbaji. Yeah. And these are our nucleus. And even our guys, IQ and RJ with Scotty, are very young for being in their positions on the team. That's right. Tobias is saying, just woke up. How bad was it? You didn't watch the game? Okay, well, you're good. You're good. Don't worry about it, Ivan. You don't need to check it out. So he's saying, or Montrezl Harrell, if he has an option out of his contract in Australia, that would be great. I love Montrezl Harrell on our team. That would be a fantastic add-on. But who knows? Once again, guys, you guys are trying to get rid of people and add people too much already. We've got to go with what we got right now, at least initially. And we'll see if front office does any kind of decisions about trading or getting people because it's not exactly working. We'll see how they pivot. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see. Trevor's saying crazy IQ injury before preseason and injury regular season. Good Lord, give him a break. Yeah, that undercut by Darius was very, very dirty, and I didn't like that. There's the farmer, Isaac Campbell. C4C's here. Gosh, what a bloodbath last night. Yikes. Yeah. All right. On that note, let's do the classic card of the day. Nobody reminded me to do this yet, so I'll do it right now. Okay, this card is not a classic card, but it is a basketball card. So the first person to write in the full name will get the points. Let's see who knows who this is. It's a shiny one, so it's kind of hard to see. Let's see. That's part of the hard part of the challenge is can you see who the player is with the reflection? Let's see. First person to write in the name will get the trivia points for the classic card of the day. Full name this, please. Let's see if anybody can tell this. It's kind of hard. It's a difficult card with the reflection from outside. There's a lot of sun in here and the computer. Let's see who's going to guess it. Well, our leader right now is Kareem Thomas with Smooth Brown Man second, and Andrew's coming up quick. Isaac's also a competitor. Santi Aldama is a good guess, but it's not right. That is the right team. This is a weird card because I didn't even realize this guy played on this team, but he did. He did play on this team at some point, but he's been on a few teams since. So he's not actually on Memphis anymore, this player, which is very interesting. This is a mosaic card, of course. It's the latest Skybox. Yeah, C4C says there's a guy from Phoenix. That's a very good clue right there. You can't think of who it is. Somebody going to seagull it from them since they gave the clue there. This guy's from Phoenix. Yeah, I think that's correct. That's right. He is on the Phoenix Suns at this point. So let's see who can get this this card, this not so classic card, because nobody's going to seagull it from that clue. No. This is current. This is not old cards, Smooth Brown Man. This is a classic card. This is a class. Oh wait, no. Dragic? No, it's not Dragic. Jake La what? No, Isaac, you're wrong. You're wrong. Jake LaRavia or whatever, Ravavia. No, that's not who it is either. No. You guys are off on this today. I'm surprised at how bad you guys are doing on this. Honestly, this guy's a starter. What are you all talking about? This guy's a starter, isn't he? I believe this guy's starting for them over there. If he isn't, that guy, the dunker. C4C's got it. It's Grayson Allen. It is Grayson Allen. Guys, yeah, Grayson Allen was on the Memphis Grizzlies originally. Then he went to the Milwaukee Bucks. And now he's on the Phoenix Suns. You guys couldn't see Grayson Allen? Yeah, that's Grayson Allen. C4C getting the classic card of the day. That's a new name to put on the classic card list. I don't think you've gotten it before. Let me see if David's here writing it down. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. He might have effed off for the stream day already. Who knows? Let me just see. I'll write it in for him if he has not. Yeah, he's not here. All right, so let me just write it in, guys. Grayson Allen is the card.
and it is C for C getting the card today. A new name in there. You know what? Because that was a little difficult. I'll give you 150 trivia points for getting Grayson. Because the reflection was tough, and then you guys were not having easy luck with the guesses there. There you go. Thank you, Isaac, for putting me on blast there. Yeah, Grayson Allen. Damn timeouts. All right, let me check my tabs since I'm at the end of things here. We did the box score. I looked at the stats. I'm going to give a little credit to some of the Cavs real quick on the way out. Evan Mobley, obviously, very, very fantastic game. 9 of 14 with 25 points. He was a plus 31, guys. He won by 30 points. He's a plus 31. The other guy who was a plus 31, Donovan Mitchell, 7 for 14, 50% shooting with 21 points. He was really good. LeVert off the bench was really good in the second half. 8 of 9 in 21 minutes with 4 assists and 19 points. That was really good. Ty Jerome came in late, and he was annoying. I forgot about him being on the Cavs. He's a get after it guy with 14 points in 19 minutes, 6 of 7 shooting. See, they just shot too well. And Yang, what an annoying dude. 4 for 5. He was a bully. He's pushing people around. 3 for 4 from the field from 3. 11 points for Georges Niang, who still doesn't look like he's in shape. He's just running around there. And of course, Tristan Thompson came out there and got a little brief cameo in the game also. And he went up to Vince before the game and thanked him for encouraging him to play basketball once again. So, good stuff on the other side for the other team. Not so much for us. You know, there was a point where I was like, man, Grady Dick, take Dean Wade to school, man. That's right, Grady. You take Dean Wade to school. There was a little bit of that for a little bit of the time yesterday. But guys, we do have a birthday today, and it's not it's not Ryan's favorite person. It is Drake's birthday today, guys. It is October's very own, the global ambassador's birthday today, and that just so you guys know about that. Just a little note about the fantasy league. I am not able to change the scoring. That once the first game started, it was locked in, so we're just set with what we got. So points will not be added down the road. I am sorry I failed you guys this year for being the fantasy commissioner and absolutely thinking about giving up the role and giving it to somebody else in the chat like David for the future, because I really did a bad job setting up the league. I apologize, guys. And all that stuff that happened yesterday was absolutely unnecessary because there wasn't the option to add points for me to do that anyway. So it's going to be what it is right now. And I apologize for all the stupid shit earlier, man. Seriously, I really do. Awesome. Laugh out loud. I had to wait a minute to talk again, but no one got it before. But that feels great. Awesome. Well, if you accomplished something today, you got the classic card of the day, C4C. And I hope you'll join us more often so that you can get more trivia points over the season and compete to be the Raptor Freak Trivia Champion of the Year. That's right. G saying, back to my comment, I'm a Yak fan as a compliment to them. So Yak isn't fighting two bigs at once. Yeah, I feel like in some ways they came out, hit us in the face, Evan Mobley specifically, with Jared Allen right behind him, and we just didn't react the right way to meet their presence and their physicality. And that is something that will be reviewed. It's not that Scotty and Jakob aren't strong enough to do it. It's just that they didn't meet the challenge. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And I think they'll figure it out. I have a lot of faith in Jakob for this, for sure. Let's see. Kareem saying Bruno is only 6'8". Carlson might be better as a 7-footer. Sometimes height just creates harder mismatches. I'm going to get behind this. I think he's actually 6'9". He's a legitimate power forward center, and he is strong enough to do stuff. Once again, guys, we're not having dinner last night, eating the meal, and then taking out the garbage the next morning because we're mad at like the outcome. That's what we can't do. We've made our decisions. I'm very happy with the decisions the front office made. And let's not think back to Carlson. Carlson is not an NBA player. I'm going to say this over and over again, guys. Masai and Bobby analyzed him, and they realized this at this point. In theory, it made sense, and it sounded like it'd be great to have a three-point shooting big. And that's part of the reason why that people love him so much is because of three-point shooting. But in some ways, we don't have any clue that would be absolutely reliable in this big league. Jamison Battle, it translates. Grady Dick, it translates. But it doesn't mean that Carlson would just be a bona fide bucket for three on our team. And, I know your argument about height is great, But let's look at the first year of Wembanyama and think about the issues with what Victor had to deal with as far as defensive problems with the Spurs and their record last year. You think that Brendan Carlson's going to do anything good with his height like Wembanyama? No. So that's what I'm saying. He can be pushed around. They can bump him off and easily just put the baskets in. Bruno Fernando takes a bump. He's staying right where he is. Meanwhile, Brendan Carlson's sitting on the floor next to Nab Bhatia because he got hit with a physical NBA strength size offensive player. And that's the difference right there, Kareem. That's the difference right there. That's what I'm saying. Trevor's saying today is a blessed day, so be joyful in it because tomorrow's not promised. Live for today, and tomorrow will take care of itself. I love it. We're giving bonus words of wisdom right at the end. And Carlos saying, Carlson might be a 7-footer, but he is so thin and slow as well. That's the other thing. He's a very slow player. In some ways, I really got the feel inside the team, not just with Battle, with the players on who they really wanted to make this final team. And by the outpouring of love and support for Bruno Fernando that we saw in the last few days, he was the one that the team wanted on the team. If they were going to have to choose between Bruno Fernando and Brendan Carlson, I think that a lot of the team were glad that that's the direction they went in. Let's just put it that way. So let's see. Carlos also saying it's a development season. Darko could have put in his starters and played them all game to win, but the bench needs to improve. We doesn't have his starters. His starters are injured, at least some of the very key ones. So in some ways, we were talking about is Scotty in the bench. Just like that lineup that was late, they kind of let the game get away from them. They like that lineup of Davion, Shed, Bruno Fernando, Chris Boucher, and Scotty. That was a successful lineup in the preseason at times. And, they showed it for a little while in the second quarter, and it didn't work out this time. All right, guys, I'm coming right at 2.5 hours right now. I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And join if you feel like it. The Facebook group is fun during the game. We're in there talking and kibitzing and going on about the game in different ways in our Facebook private chat. So if you want to hear reactions from me during the game, that's the best way to do it. Join the channel, and you'll have access to our private Facebook chat where all of us are in there having a party and hanging out while we watch the Raptors. Tomorrow, I'll have the preview for the Philadelphia game against the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey, and Nick Nurse. So be here tomorrow, 9:30. I'll have the referee report and all the latest lineup news for you. So thank you for watching today with me on the Raptor Freak channel. I appreciate all the guests today from Basketball Rewind, as far as Kenyon and Coach Roach, and of course, King Brian, being in the chat today also. And everybody who returned after not being around the channel for a while, thank you for coming back and circling back to the Raptor Freak channel. You know this is the place to get your opinions heard on reacting to the Raptors game in an intelligent way that isn't overly emotional and knee-jerk. In some ways, that's the important thing to realize exactly what is happening here and not to get all crazy, bent out of shape. You do not want to tie your mental health up with the outcome of the win-loss for the Raptors. Trust me, you don't want to do that. So just keep them separated, as they said on The Offspring, right? You got to keep them separated.